happen. Feel the hum in your hands. This is 4D. Heat on my palms, grip locked, heart racing. Shoes hit the pedal, whole room shaking. Jersey on my back, hat pulled low and blazing. Every turn I take, got the ghosts I'm chasing. 4D in my veins, feel that fire when I play, when I move, when I break, when I bang through the lane. 4D on my skin, when I lose, when I win, I'm alive in the light of the game I'm in. 4D, 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 it's different.
Hello again, everyone. For P1 Broadcasting, I am Gary Gatto, and it is race day in Indianapolis once again, and you are looking live at the world's greatest virtual race course, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, as we are just moments away from letting loose 33 of the fastest sim racers in the world today as they attempt to forever etch their name in the iRacing database as a winner of the Open Indy 500. I'd like to welcome all of you to our race day coverage of the 9 p.m. Eastern sessions time slots for this Friday, May 15th, 2026. Joining me in the booth tonight, he's my broadcast partner for the iRacing IndyCar Oval Series Tuesday Night Top Split and the Elite Racing League's P1 IndyCar Championship on Thursdays and the Votive Indy Oval Series on Sundays. He's a winner in the Lionheart level, also a winner in Dark Horse, Votive, and the Elite Racing Leagues with 72 combined iRacing wins. Please welcome Luis Gonzalez Nunez. Luis, good to have you here. Are you nervous like me? Are we ready to do this?
I'm really nervous for today. It's really very, very important. Way more nervous like it happened last week on Friday night when the Robin Maleska won the first slot on the Indy Fixed 500. But today's different stuff. We have so many names. It started from Russell, is Maleska over here, also is Omier, Akabuesi, Lindenberg. That's a lot of people who are going to be fighting for the first victory on the Indy 500 this week.
Also joining me this week, she has over 50 official iRacing wins. She's one of our co-commentators with Jacob Collins on our Monday and Tuesday night Indy Next broadcast. She's a regular competitor in the iRacing IndyCar series, coming off a a podium top split podium finish at the Indy GP road course last week. Please welcome Sophie Connell. Sophie, good to have you here. What kind of strategies are we expecting today? Because a lot of these racers didn't really get a chance to practice on these race sets very much. It was all qualifications all week long for a lot of these drivers.
Yes, including myself, Gary. Everyone putting in whatever they can to find what little advantage there is in qualifying to even get here. And so a lot of drivers haven't really played around with their race sets too much. You got to get used to the dirty air, and one of the big storylines I think is going to be developing over the course of this race is there's two different main aero packages that I am seeing here. Everyone's running the wing plane extension on the front wing, but there's some running what's called the Step 1, which is shorter, offers less drag, and less downforce. And then there's the Step 2 runners who are running more downforce, more drag, but that should help them in traffic and help them deal with that dirty air, Gary. So should be curious to see how that plays out, as well as the fuel strategy that normally plays out during a 500-mile race.
And once again, we'll update you ambient-wise, pretty comfortable, 69 degrees. But the track temp is now starting to creep up there. It is now in the triple digits, 100 degrees on the track temp. And if it does look a little hazy, we are at 82% humidity. So it is a little hazy out there. Wind is out of the west right now at about 6 miles per hour as we see drivers in the warm-up session now, as it has just gone official. So we're getting ready to grid up, practicing those very crucial green flag pit stops, because if it was anything like the fixed 500 a week ago, we had only one caution, and we pretty much then went 190 laps to the end. So green flag pit stops, if anything is like last week, green flag pit stops are going to play a huge role in how this race unfolds. All right, let's get on in here and bring in tonight's starting lineup. Go ahead, Sophie. You have the con.
Starting on pole, we have Alexander Russell for Power to Slide. The Canadian driver starts on pole alongside his teammate, the King of Indianapolis, Robert Malechka III, and Jason Brophy, former Pro Series driver, on the outside. Jacob Oster, their teammate, starts fourth alongside Hamilton Akaweze, and real-life Indy NXT engineer for Chip Ganassi Racing, Adam Blocker, starting in sixth. Jeff Drake starts seventh alongside Alexis Newsom and Chris Vandenese. Thomas Simon of Hungary starts in 10th, Jaden Munoz in 11th, and Daniel Ferguson in 12th. Rogue Racing's Ty Keela starts 13 alongside Brendan Hyperstar in position 14. Lucas Davila of Argentina starts in 15th. Lucas Ladado in 16th for WSR. Jose El Soria starts in 17th for the Spaniard. Kyle Clenworth, my fellow Marylander, starts in 18th alongside, and then on the next row we got Matt Hollabaugh and Jarrett Corey, both within an alliance between Indy Satellite Racing and Rogue Racing. JT Smeaton of Nexus Racing starts on the outside of that row in 21st. Matthew Mitchum starts in 22nd alongside I5G's Matt Taylor in 23rd. Anthony Estrada of Rogue Racing starts in 24th. James C. Walker, the Canadian, starts 25th alongside Lith Fox in 26th. Finnegan Myers starts 27th, and my former teammate and good friend Anna Klemek of New Zealand starts 28th. Mason Mitchum of Votive Racing starts 29th, and Alex Miller starts 30th. On the last row, we have Mohamed Omir of Indonesia in 31st, Ricky Paz of Mexico in 32nd, and Marco Aurelio Brazil of Paraguay starting a shotgun on the field in 33rd, Gary.
As the field not doing three wide starts as on iRacing. That's only kind of for special races and league races. They can set that up, but here official races are going to do 2 wide starts. They're on the north end of the racetrack. We can simulate everything up to the starts, though. Unfortunately, we're going to go 2 wide, but we're going to go off into turn 1, and let's see if everybody can get through this first lap. Keys of the race. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Let's survive the 170, and we're also using the hybrid for the first time. Let's get ready to go racing at Indianapolis. Green flag on the precipice of coming out. It is Alexander Miller and Robert Malechka on the front row. Actually, it's Alexander Miller and Jason Brophy on the front row.
Green flag.
As Malechka, I think, is starting from pit road. Yes, he is.
So far, everyone cleanly through turn number 1. No clue why Malechka would start from the pits. That would kind of put him out behind the draft, make it difficult to fuel save, Gary. So, curious to see if that maybe has some internet issues, or maybe forgot to load the right setup.
Or maybe he's using this race as a bit of a live fire exercise in preparation for the big open race tomorrow. We'll see. This kind of does act as a live scrimmage. Coming to the completion of lap 1, it is Oster, Russell, and Hamilton Akaweze in that WSR livery. He's a new driver for them. He's been trying to get his nose into the front, but there goes Alexander Russell to the point. Started on the front row of the PRI Hoosier 500. It's Russell, Oster, Brophy, Akabo Easy, Blocker, now the 5th, Newsom, Simon, Drake, Vandenessa, and Munoz, your top 10, your biggest mover of the race right now. Clindy, Sophie, Clindy is already up 5 spots.
Well, Clendy would be the first to tell you himself that he does not do well in qualifying, but seems to excel in these races. I would expect to see him continue that march through the field.
Also up pretty good is your former, is your good friend and a former teammate, Anna Klimek. Anna is up 6 spots as well. Further in the back, Ricky Paz, a driver you know pretty well. The Mexican, he's up 6 spots.
Yes, Taylor Mills Racing, TMR, which is what the team for Anna Klimek, is in alliance with the Votive team of Ricky Paz and Mason Mitchum. So there is, even though some drivers aren't necessarily on the same team, for example, Matt Hollabaugh is of Satellite Racing, but they're in alliance with Rogue Racing. They share information. They're probably in the same Discord call, willing to help each other out, make sure that they drop low, say on a straightaway to give someone the edge, so they can complete a pass or work together on pit strategy, Gary.
Well, we've already passed the point where we got our first caution in race 1 for fixed weekend, Lewis. Maybe we're going to start settling into a long, nice green flag run here. But unlike the fixed race, I'm already seeing closer racing at the front. The field is not really separating like it did in the fixed race, albeit we're still 4 laps into this thing.
Yeah, I see the Ty Quilla a little bit just going to the front. I see really side by side in between Soria and Lucas Lodato. But yeah, you already, I really agree. It's something really different. Why? Because this is an open setup. It's they waited, they practice, and they put all this stuff for this day, and especially for tomorrow at 1 p.m. on iRacing channel. It's gonna be the main one when they see all the qualifying, and also Constantini is gonna be tomorrow. Because he is the fastest guy all the week in the qualifying. So, but for now, it's gonna be really impressive how they still make it side by side. But we have to wait, you know, after lap 20, and when we figure out how it's gonna be the tire for each one. So all the degradation on the tire.
Constantini on the pole for the top split race tomorrow with a speed of the 4-lap average 234.7, which is about 2 miles per hour faster than what they were able to set in the fixed setup. So with these open setups, they're able to lay down those wings a little bit more, get some extra speed out of these cars. And it should be closer to what you'll see the qualifications for the real Indy 500 tomorrow, which will be happening at the same time as the 1 o'clock race tomorrow.
Yes, and currently Alexander Russell making a move to take over the lead from his teammate Jacob Oster. I would suspect to see a lot of that swapping, Gary, so that way all of those cars can kind of stay on the same fuel strategy. If you're the car out front, you're punching the hole in the air, and that means that you're burning more fuel. As we see now, Oster swapping again. So, one, that helps increase the speed of all those cars throughout the run. They're kind of pulling away from Jason Brophy in third. But also it allows them to kind of save fuel a little bit and maybe run longer. Full burn on fuel, you're running about 27 laps. If you really save it, you can go up to 35, and that can cut out a potential pit stop, Gary.
And one of the drivers in this race did that exact same strategy in Lionheart, Lewis. We talked about that. The old Lionheart IndyCar series is Alexis Newsom. Managed to cut out one entire stop on that entire race. She just hung back in third place, drafted off P1, P2 as they swapped all race long, and then boom, when that last stint got there, she inherited the lead and ended up winning that race just by stopping one less time than everyone else.
Yeah, really, it was a really surprise that day when everyone had the normal strategy, and she came with one less pit stop. And she won by over the 5 or 3 seconds over the Phil Krause that day. And remember, she is the only and the first woman in the Lionheart Speedway Series, be the champion, and be also the champion in the Indy 500 on the Speedway Series. So it was already impressive to her in that day when even the commentary in that time, the broadcaster people, They didn't realize. Wow, she did something we didn't expect it to be.
And Jeff Drake is currently right now trying to get a pass done on Alexis. And Alexis, a little bit of a kiss of the turn 4 exit wall as Akabuizi goes purple that lap with a 224.4.
Oh my God. I see Ricky pass and Myers touched the wheels each other in turn 1, before turn 1, when approaching for turn 1. It was really close. You know what is happening when the two cars clip the tires in iRacing. They're gonna clip it and they're never gonna release each other.
Well, they avoided a little bit of a calamity there as we continue watching this battle in the back. This is Matt Taylor, the master of Richmond in IndyCar. Ricky Paz, the Mexican, who's also a qualifier of the PRI Hoosier 500, has a lot of pace. He is currently up 7 spots back in 25th right now. Robert Malechka shotgun in the field, but he is catching the group, and he has caught MAB, and Malechka goes purple that lap, a 2:26.1, a full 2 miles per hour faster than the fastest lap of the race already.
Yes, he currently is just all over the draft range of Marco Aurelia Brazil, and I suspect that Malechka is going to be moving up through the field. He's been very quick. I wonder if there was maybe just an issue where he just loaded the wrong qualifying set, because as we currently see, Anna Klemek is currently making a move into the top 20. She works her way around Matt Hollabaugh for the 19th spot, Gary. So it seems like moves here are taking a little bit longer to set up, but they are possible.
Meanwhile, at the front, Power Slide, the Super Squad up at the front occupies spots 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the racetrack. WSR esports team with Hamilton Akabuizi in 5th. Simon, an independent driver, in 6th. I5G driver Alexis Newsom in 7th. Jeff Drake in 8th. Jaden Munoz in 9th. And Chris Vandenessa in 10th. That is your top 10 right now. Ty Quilla in 11th. And Clindy in 12th. Just behind Clindy is Daniel Ferguson. Ferg is in 13th. Lucas Davala is in 14th. Soria has worked his way up 2 spots to 15th. That is your top 15 as they run here, as we are coming up to lap 15 here very shortly. We're at 13 of 200. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We appreciate you being here for the top split broadcast for the 9 p.m. time slot here for the Open Indy 500. We're in the very early stages here. We have not got to first green flag pit stops yet, and knock on wood, we have not had a caution yet. But we have seen a lot of wheel-to-wheel racing, including here's Anna Klemek, another position as she makes on the racetrack in turn 1. Gets around Jarrett Curry, another one of the Rogue Alliance drivers. And she moves up Anna Klemek now, up 10 spots from 28th to 18th, Sophie.
Yeah, that is an incredible run through the field. She's currently behind Brendan Lichtenberg, the Hyperstar, probably streaming on Twitch right now, but you should stay right here. So instead of just getting one car, you get every car here on P1 Broadcasting.
And Brendan unfortunately got beat out by a little bit of an unorthodox fuel save strategy in the Creators Series Indy 500. He dominated large portions of that race he was like an Andretti. And when I say like an Andretti, is he dominated and he just didn't win, unfortunately. But Brendan is up, actually he's down 3 spots right now in 17th. But we suspect that, and again, Team I5G. I5G stands for the Indy 500 group. This is their bread and butter. This is what they live for, these fixed and open weekends, and this is what they are known for. They come here and they come to Indianapolis, and they don't just show up to the race and race. They show up to the race and win, or be expected to win and contend. So we should see Brendan later in this race, if he can make it that far, as we get into the later stages, as a contender somewhere in the top 10. But he is in 17th spot right now. But up front, there is Alexander Russell and Jacob Oster continuing to work together. And the top 4 have kind of started to pull away from Akabuizi in 5th, as the wall of power slide is now currently occupying the top 4 positions on the racetrack, as Jacob Oster gets the position into turns 3 and 4, and he will pick up the lead as Russell and Oster continue to swap at the front.
Matthew Mitchum in the number 33, driving for Nexus Esports, the previous lap, really caught the wall hard. It looks like they have some side pod damage. That's going to really hinder their ability as the race goes on, Gary, because that hurts their efficiency, hurts their ability to save fuel, and also just hurts their speed.
And his teammate is right in front of him at JT Smeaton with that Nexus Esports squad. And Robert Malechka has now worked his way now inside the top 30 as he gets a beat on Finnegan Myers going into turn 3. And Myers is not letting him have it on the outside. In fact, crowds him a little bit and says, you know what? No, you're going to have to earn this one, Robert Malechka. I don't care if you're the number 1 car. He leaves the bottom open for Malechka. Malechka's going to have a run, but just no draft down the front stretch. Ricky Paz holds his line. He's not going to give any aid to Malechka. I can say that for sure. Here comes Malechka to the inside of Myers one more time.
No, and one of the things is Ricky Paz is going a little lower as now Finnegan decides to put Ricky Paz under the gun. And Paz holds tough on the outside, but that gives Malechka the run. And if Malechka's a full charge, let's see how much he pulls alongside. He's able to get there a little bit into turn number 3, but ultimately has to back out of it.
Dirty air.
Yeah, exactly. It's the dirty air. And one of the things I want to highlight here, if you look at the front wing of Malechka, that little tab at the edges of that wing, that is the step 1. Meanwhile, the car he's trying to pass, the 4 car of Myers, has the step 2. Myers has way more down, but Malechka nearly collects him.
Malechka had to roll out of it and pray that Myers and his racecraft could avoid that, and Myers gets the spot. But Malechka, we don't see Malechka having this much trouble trying to pass someone, but he goes to the inside here in 3, and he sends it. But he's going to have the dirty air from Paz. Can he get pulled through? Still there, and he clears in the short chute. Now he's up to 26th position for Robert Malechka, who started from pit road, but he is the number 1 car, and he would have started on the pole for this race if he did not start from pit road.
Yeah, and immediately he's putting Ricky Paz under the gun as well.
Oh, look at this run.
He ran higher in that corner, Gary, to get clean air and then cut low and nearly collects Paz as they come off the corner. Paz not letting him go, though. He's in the draft, but he chooses just to wait. One of the things I'd be thinking about is Matt Taylor and that i5 machine, the number 11, just up ahead of them, was pulling out a little bit of the gap. The more you fight, the more you struggle. As Taylor's going into the pits.
Early pit stop, right when the window comes open.
That is a very early pit stop, Gary. I mean, he's going to be hoping that this race stays green, because maybe he'll come out, even though he'll be a lap down, Gary, he might have a bunch of drafting help. He'll have fresher tires. If the degradation is really bad, he can maybe pull ahead and really start to make some inroads that way, rather than trying to do it the hard way.
So, Lewis, Matt Taylor, very savvy driver. We've seen him in the top split broadcast on Tuesday night. It's going off script, and he seems to be the only car that is doing that right now as he goes down a lap.
Yeah, actually, really weird. I really agree with that. Really weird. And also, super early, 21 laps. He did in the box 7.8 on the box. So, it's like a Brandon Troll's strategy. So he coming before to see what kind of thing he can pick on the end. So he decided on the end, in the last moment. Looked like he almost lost the control on the car, but he did a good job. So let's see if it's this. He hit the wall on turn 4. Matt Taylor. That's a big damage on the side pod and on the Matt Taylor. Unfortunately for him, you don't want that damage because we still.
That is a big lick. You're right.
Yeah, so I think new tires, new everything. He needs to set up again with 178 to go.
Yeah, and some of that damage isn't going to be repairable, Lewis, because it's floor damage, and you can't get a new floor on pit road.
I know. I hope we can have that repair, but unfortunately, nope. It is what it is.
Back up at the front, it's still the Great Wall of Power Slide, as the community would call it. Russell and Oster out front swapping positions, and then Brophy and Blocker watching from 3rd and 4th, while Akabueze sits about a second adrift in 5th.
And we'll ride with the Robbie Gordon cam on Hamilton's car. Hamilton, a winner here in the past in fixed 500 competition. He also won the Elite Racing League's Indy 500 a year ago. He started in 28th position for that particular race and won that race in a caution-free 500. He started 5th today, and he rides with a new squad with the new paints. Hamilton at Cabo Easy right now in 5th as he's starting to drop, as you mentioned, Sophie. He's really starting to drop behind that pack, and if that pack continues to pull away, they're going to break the draft envelope on him.
Yeah, the draft envelope's about 1.5 seconds, so they're nearly there, and that's going to be huge. Another thing to note here, Robert Malechka up to 22nd. He just got around Anthony Estrada. After getting around Ricky Paz seemed to be and Finnegan Myers really seemed to be the two that gave him the most trouble. He's now aiming a bead on the Thai American driver of JT Smeaton. Smeaton, a regular in the Indy Open Series.
Smeaton, and then Matt Hollenball, Jared Curry, Anna Klimek all ahead of Robert Malechka as he does his march to the front. And I'm beginning to wonder, and Lewis, I'm going to ask you first, and then I'll ask Sophie the possibility of it as well. Possibly, yes, he maybe had a problem, but just thinking outside the box, everyone looks forward to that big 1 p.m. race tomorrow. Could he be using this as a live scrimmage, so to speak, and starting from the rear of the pack, do the worst to first challenge, Lewis, and see how his car handles in traffic all race long to prepare himself for a race tomorrow, that he knows everything that's going to happen now with this car, whether he's in traffic or out in clean air?
Actually, very smart strategy of the Rover to start on the back. He started like 3 seconds behind on the Marco Aurelio.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And,
yeah, he was way behind.
And after 3 or 4 laps, he really catch him. He made an attempted 3 wide between Walker and Mitchum. In some point, he made the pass. And but I think it's a good strategy for tomorrow, just in case something happened and could be pulled back. But I think his setup, it is really strong with 27 laps in his team.
The first round of pit stops should be coming up anytime, Sophie. I wonder who's going to be the first takers. I would imagine it's going to be Oster or Russell with the way that they've been leading out front. I would imagine Brophy and Blocker, they've just been pretty much in line, so they're probably doing the most saving back there. I would suspect we see Oster and Russell anytime here in the next, say, 2 to 5 laps.
Yeah, I would suspect that to be the case as well, because, again, they're the ones punching the hole in the air for the teammates behind them. They are swapping, so they are kind of sharing that burden a bit, Gary, but I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make. Might get them an extra lap or two, because about full tank is about 27, and we're on lap 29.
The green flag pit stops inbound. We are caution-free to this point, everybody. Going to knock on wood once again. And frankly, the longer we go into this race, and here they come, just as we expected, coming to pit road. Green flag pit stops for our leaders.
Yeah, it's Oster and Russell as they come down the pit lane here. And I want you to notice, if you look at Russell, he does not have his limiter on. Neither does Oster. So they're doing this the hard way.
Oh, yeah, he does not. He slides through his spot, but he gets to his marks. But yeah, you do not see on the dash that he's on the limiter at all on his pie dash.
Malechka is also in. Malechka is also in, and that's not a total surprise, Gary, because he spent so much of that race out on his own, chasing down the tail of the field. Definitely burned up a lot of fuel doing that, and so he's going to have to come in early than he probably would like to. Full run is about
Alexander Miller has a meatball flag.
Oh, I have a contact in exit on the turn 1. Very hard, so he must to come into the pit to serve that flag.
Let's see this again as he's coming down the main straight as he smacks the turn one wall. Kind of narrows that narrows the wide body out a little bit, but it's not going to allow him to go faster this time as he just kind of misses the whole apex there. He gets to the white line, but you see him out in the gray already, and bam, just like kind of Jay Howard back in 2017 or so, smacks the wall, but instead of coming off it and collecting Scotty Dixon, he keeps it up there, but very reminiscent, just getting up into the gray and smacking the turn one exit wall as we have a whole bunch of people on pit road right now. We see Anna Klimek on pit road. We see Ty Quilla on pit road. We see Van Nessa on pit road. We see Brendan Lichtenberg on pit road.
As well as Hamilton Ecoboise. He's coming out of pit lane. Notice a lot of them are holding in the clutch pedal to try and build the revs. The engine in this car gets almost all of its power band towards the end of the rev range, Gary. So if you launch without doing that, you're really the engine's kind of bogged down. You don't get as much power out of it. So a lot of drivers like to, if they have a clutch pedal or a clutch paddle, hold that clutch in to try and get the revs up to launch faster.
Brophy, Alexis Newsom on pit road. Also Simon on pit road. Scheduled stops here at lap 33. Let's get, I guess we can see who's going long, and the one that's going the longest right now, or one of the longest, is Adam Blocker. He's currently coming to pit road right now, and he might give the lead over to Jeff Drake. No, Jeff Drake's coming in. Does Ferg make the turn to pit road? Does he stay out for one extra lap? Ferg is going to go extra long. Lodato, his teammate, comes to pit road. Jared Curry stays out long. Matt Hollenball comes to pit road. Mason Mitchum is coming to pit road. So looks like Ferg and Curry are going the longest with fuel save.
Yeah, again, it looks like they're going to the full extent. You need to hit about 2 liters per lap to make the full 35 laps, Gary. It's a 70-liter tank, so a definite big stretch from Jarrett Corey, but that can really come back to you in the end in a race like this.
Find out somebody speaking liters. Thank you.
Yes, unfortunately, I still talk in freedom units. Sorry, everybody.
I'm just a bad American. I use metric. Oh.
I am an awful American if that's the case. Jacob Oster is going to pick up the lead here off of 4, bringing Alexander Russell in tow. Jason Brophy is still back there. Akabo Weezy actually manages to get the drop on Blocker. Jade Munoz, purple light. Someone say something.
I see Robert Maleska tried to make the pass on Lucas Davila. He couldn't. He almost had a contact. Almost Robert Maleska lose the front wing by an inch. So it's really close. I don't know how the net code wasn't over there, contact over there, but it was really close to have a contact.
Was this off of 4 or coming into 1?
It was turn 2. And turn 1, sorry, turn 1.
Turn 1. We'll see if we could replay that here as we went back to that lap. Here's Robert getting the run here at the start-finish line, the yard of bricks. And he does kind of, no, he stays high. And Sophie, you've been pointing that out. Lucas kind of fades up there a little bit there, gives him a little bit of dirty air. But he's making things very hard for the fixed 500 winner and former Open 500 winner.
Yeah, it's so difficult to find that clean air, especially if someone in front of you is just kind of washing up, takes it away at the last second. And that just makes it difficult to really navigate because you're really just kind of on a razor's edge, especially if you're running a more trimmed out setup like Malechka is.
And Malechka with his undercut, or actually, I guess he was one of the earlier stoppers, so I guess he did a bit of an undercut as Lucas Zavala is not letting him on by. He is using all that momentum on the high side to hold off Malechka. He's much like we saw a little bit further back with who was he fighting that we saw him fighting that he was having a hard time? Walker, I believe. He was having a hard time with him. And here he is underneath Lucas now. Lucas stays high. Malechka gets back in line. Here comes Anna Klimek to make a battle of it. Klimek stays to the inside. The Deer getting a good run off of 4. She tucks it back in. Meanwhile, in front, there's Soria and Ferg side by side in the 1. As this battle rages all the way through 12th through about 17th on the racetrack, the mid-pack is pretty punchy right now.
Yeah, it's definitely Lucas not wanting to give ground, and he's like, I don't care that this is the house Malechka built, effectively, given how much Robert Malechka has won these Indianapolis 500s.
He holds him off again on the north end of the racetrack on the high side. Malechka's going to be like, come on, man.
Yeah, he is definitely none too pleased right now, but it looks like he's going to be closer this time as they head down into the corner, but he just has to give up.
The dirty air. The dirty air. Yeah. I think the dirty air is kind of up, but a big high line by Lucas, and that was not the right line. And now it's going to have all the momentum on the backside. Here comes Robert Malechka to the inside, and he might be able to pull the pass off this time as they go into 3.
And he kind of has to give it up because, again, remember, Gary, Malechka's on that step 1 front wing, whereas Lucas and Lichtenberg up ahead, they've got that step 2 wing. They're able to get more downforce in the turbulent, dirty air than Malechka, and I think that's why Malechka's having such a hard time of it on the low side.
Now, this is an open setup race. Can he make, what type of setup changes can he make when he gets to pit road? Obviously, the big obvious one is change the wing angle on the front wing plane. But can he also do some other things to help his car handle better in traffic?
So, unfortunately, you can't change your aero configuration that much, Gary. All you can do is change the front and rear wing angle. So, he might want to put some more front wing into it, and he might want to take out some rear wing, maybe. That's all he can really do, but that's still kind of either adding downforce to the front or taking it away on the rear. There's really that's all you can do besides the in-car tools.
Best seat in the house right here is Anna Klimek, as she's right behind this battle. And again, Lucas manages to hold off Malechka.
Yeah, and again, both Klimek and Malechka are on that step 1 wing. And I'm curious to see how that's kind of playing out as over the course of the run, because this has got to be killing Malechka's tires.
And it was overall pace. As, again, Lucas, getting the run on the high side. A lot of momentum there in that second groove, Lewis, as he's going to be able to hold off Malechka again for another lap.
Yeah, it was already impressive. Even with the piece of the setup, we have Robert Malechka now. I think.
Nearly got in the back of him there.
I think he might be. I don't know. Maybe just me. Chat, you can shout it out. You can think what he's doing. I mean, is maybe Lucas doing a little bit of mirror driving right now?
No, I don't think he's doing his job. He protected the position, and that's the thing. And he's doing a good job, actually. He have the dirty. It's not the dirty air, but he have the draft of Lindenberg on the front, so he can protect it in turn 1 and 2, 3 and 4 all the laps. But unfortunately for Robert, every time when he come into the main or the back straight, they have the draft of the Lindenberg, so it's no help. And I really agree with Sophie. He kill the tires every time he's coming to try to pass Lucas. Is killed the tires, and he just in the 13 laps in the scene.
Oh, look how close they get in that camera shot, and he passes him.
Malechka finally gets by, and I'm sure he sees that a little differently than you did, Luis. Not saying it's a fair perspective, but it's certainly a perspective. Is now he's got to hunt down the Hyperstar.
I have not seen a driver, and here comes Anna to the inside, as we are on the Robbie Gordon cam of Lucas, and Lucas lets Anna on by. But I have not seen a driver give that much mid-pack grief to Robert Malechka in a very long time. It's been a long time since I've seen that, really.
No, and I wonder if that's just kind of a byproduct of the tire model. That's something that's been kind of grumbled about in the IndyCar community, both on the road and oval side. That like it's just there really isn't much fall off. The way it kind of behaves on the oval kind of stunts some of the racing and makes where it's a little a little harder to pass, and we kind of are seeing that there with what Lucas was able to do, as Malechka wastes no time to catch up to Lichtenberg.
Battle of the super teams here between I5G and Power Slide. Go ahead, Lewis.
Oh, we have some DNF and DC. So DNF for Taylor, DNF for Taylor and Miller. DC by Mason Mitchell and Thomas Simon is out. And I think
Jared Curry meatball flag.
Jared Curry, yes. It is.
Yeah, Curry, it looks like he pancaked the left side of that Rogue Racing machine. Curry, current defending Indy Next Road Series champion, and has won in the Indy Next Oval Series, Gary. So he's not unfamiliar with the oval side of things, but not the night he would like.
And he's with a very good team on the ovals with Rogue Racing, and he just got up in that high groove and could not keep it. He might have already been damaged by this point, and I think that's kind of why he was so high in the groove, and the pass was made so easy on him. But he managed to keep it off the wall, but he's coming to pit road to get attention of his crew and maybe try to repair and then nurse this car for the remainder of the 400 miles that are still ahead of us. As we've passed the 100-mile mark, we're now at lap 47, coming up to lap 50. Giving you your lap 50 update here is Oster, Russell swapping the lead continuously now up front. Brophy in third, Blocker in fourth. Blocker got back around Hamilton and Kabawizi. Hamilton got the drop on Adam at the first round of pit stops, but Blocker gets the position back. Jaden Munoz up 5 spots to 6th. Alexis Newsom in 7th. Chris Vandenessa in 8th. Jeff Drake in 9th. Ty Quilla has worked his way up inside the top 10. Clindy just on the verge of the top 10 in 11th.
Yes, and that's exactly what we would expect. Clendy and Tykila were the big movers during the Hoosier 500, the big League 500 that happens at the end of the year. Gary, and both of those drivers were drivers on the move, even though they did not necessarily qualify the best.
And which tells you they have a good race setup underneath those cars. Have been doing a lot of race practice. Some of these drivers, and I mean, we were talking about this in the pre-race, Sophie. Some of these drivers have done nothing but qual runs. They have not practiced racing at all.
No, and I wonder if that's to do with some of the early retirements from the likes of Matt Taylor, Alex Miller. A lot of them were putting all the effort into their quality efforts to make this race.
3 wide, Robert Malechka gets a 2-for-1 and passes Soria and Ferguson on the straightaway, going into 1 and move Malechka now up into the top 15. He's now in the 12th spot, all the way from the back. You know, this is very reminiscent, Lewis. We were also talking about other names of drivers we were talking about drivers who were getting booed at the 500 now, or at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and Alex Palou is now one of those. And I said one of the drivers I remember getting booed very badly back in the day was Juan Montoya, and now we see Soria getting a shot on Malechka, getting the position back. But this march from the rear to the front is very reminiscent of the 2015 Montoya race when he won that 500. Remember, he got damage on an early caution. I think someone got into the back of him on those DW12 cars they had, and it broke one of his bumper pods on the back of his car, and he had to come to pit road and start all the way in the back, which at the time was about 30, because I think at 30th, I think they had 3 cars retired, and he had to drive all the way up and, of course, won that race. But this is very reminiscent of Juan Montoya's run in 2015 that we're seeing with Robert Malechka from the back now to the mid-pack as we are just past 50 laps.
Yeah, actually.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think it's really impressive, to be honest, the way Roberts came to the back, and now is in position 13. And about the boost, it's like, well, you know, I think the league, it's actually not the league, actually the championship, the IndyCar, wants something different and don't see Alex Palou every time winner. It's always happened everywhere. It's happening in MotoGP. It's happening in Formula One. It's happening in NASCAR. It's happening now. It's happening in IndyCar. It is normal. Even it's happening in the Sport Car Championship, the IMSA, and everywhere.
Sorry, Alexis Newsom almost washed up into the wall as she got passed by Chris Vandenessa, and this is a battle for 7th spot on the racetrack.
Yeah, one of the things to not to dampen the hype around Malechka's run through the field, one of the reasons Jose Soria is able to kind of pass Malechka back and they're kind of swapping back and forth is because there is no one for Malechka to draft onto. Kyle Clenworth has pulled ahead of them by about 3 seconds, and the draft envelope's about 1.5 seconds. So Malechka's not going to have any help unless there is a caution, and I don't think many drivers in this field would root for a caution, but if there's anyone out there doing it right now, it is Robert Malechka.
Well, I think now Robert and Soria, with the way that Soria made that pass going into 1, and how Robert now is in the draft and he's getting a big run, he's going to take a look going into 3. I think they've made the nonverbal commitment to work with one another and help try to run down that gap between themselves and the next position up at 11th, which is Clindy. And you're right, they're about 3 seconds behind that battle in front of them.
Yeah, they're going to have to work together to make that happen. Just behind them is Daniel Ferguson, and if Ferguson gets too close, he could potentially play a spoiler and kind of ruin that plan. So,
yeah,
if I was Clendy, I would not be rooting for a caution right now.
Right, for sure. And Clindy actually has a little bit of rear gunning help with his teammate Ty Quilla right in front of him. These are 2 team cars with Rogue Racing in 10th and 11th. And so the last thing they really want to see is Robert Malechka getting into their neighborhood, as that's a bit of a 5-car battle led by Alexis Newsom, then Van Nessa. And I think Newsom and Van Nessa now have linked up, and they're starting to work together, because they need to really run down a huge gap to Munoz. Munoz is 7 seconds up the road from them. They would like to see a caution maybe to run that gap down, because if we go green, that gap is only going to get bigger.
Yeah, if it stays green, that gap is going to get bigger. And a lot of the reason that gap is so big, Gary, is how critical those green flag pit stops are. We are kind of easing up to the opening of the pit window again.
We are.
And so one of the things you'll probably want to look out for is drivers will probably be dumping their hybrid, because if you have a full hybrid charge, you don't have as much when you go to hit the brake pedal. The braking system uses the kinetic energy of the braking system to recharge the batteries, and so that actually helps slow the car down further. So a really good pit cycle would be having your hybrid charge empty, slowing all the way down as quickly as possible to hit the pit speed line, making sure that you go as fast as you can on pit lane without getting caught speeding, and nailing your pit stop. And if you don't do that, you can find yourself further back in the field, and you can find yourself getting jumped, just like Adam Blocker found himself getting jumped by Hamilton Ekaboise.
If you enjoy P1's coverage of the official Open Indy 500 on iRacing, make sure you support us by smashing the like button below and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next race. We are now at lap 57, very shortly getting to lap 60, watching the lead 6 right now. That is your lead 6. They're ahead of about by 7 seconds over the next closest pack behind them. And they all had very efficient pit stops on their first stop. And you're right, Sophie, we are now in that window. Oster and Russell came to pit road at lap 29 on their first stint. They're at lap 28 right now. So we suspect that they will come to pit road within the next lap or 2.
Yeah, the pace lap does burn a little bit of fuel, Gary, but it doesn't typically cause you to not be able to make that additional lap. There they are. Russell and Oster sliding into the pit lane now. Oster looks to gain a little bit of ground on entry on Russell there.
60 miles per hour on pit road. After going 230 miles per hour plus, getting down to 60 feels like you're sitting still. Remember, 60 miles per hour is highway speeds for a lot of us pedestrian folk. So they are still moving at a pretty good clip. And these cars do not like to slow down. They do have super speedway brake discs on them, and they are smaller brake discs than the road course brake discs. And they leave their boxes exactly at the same time. And they're back underway with pit stop number 2. As we have seen nothing but green flag racing up to this point. Jason Brophy now picks up the lead of this race. Right behind him is Adam Blocker. So it looks like Powerslide has maybe gone, I call it casting a wide net, is making sure all bases are covered here. Using two strategies, a short strategy and a longer strategy. And it looks like Brophy and Blocker, two of the older drivers on the team, are going more for the longer strategy, Sophie, while the younger drivers up front of Oster and Russell, they seem to be wanting to be the hares in this race and just kind of want to run away with it. But as a result of running away, they have to come to pit road a lot sooner than everyone else.
Yes, and what that'll ultimately mean is potentially they have to make a pit stop that another driver who saved more fuel might not have to make, or
Robert to pits.
Or yes, they'll be in the pit a lot shorter because the car you don't need to fill up the fuel tank as much.
Van Nessa, Robert Malechka, pit road, second stop. So we'll see if Malechka can maybe make a little strategy here, do a shorter fill, do something to try to run down that group in front of a Van Nessa. Cockeye in the box, but he still manages to hit the marks. And he's down and away. Malechka, he's still up on the jacks. They'll be dropped in a minute. There he goes, dropped in a minute, dropped in a second there. And a new set of Firestone Firehawk tires and Shell Racing fuel, and he's down and away. His second stop of the day complete. But Blocker now is your leader as he is working with his teammate Brophy. The black and the green cars and the identical paint jobs. It's different colors. Jaden Munoz now in third. Akabuezi pit road. Noticing that Akabuezi, he was parked very close to that white line, so he's maximizing his time in and out of that box by not wasting any time, any unnecessary time in that box, trying to shave off a few tenths of a second. He's now on pit road. Got to be careful not to cross that white line. That outside white line in the short chute, you cannot cross. Your tires cannot fully cross it or you will get a black flag.
Yes, and Pepperidge Farm remembers when you could cross the first line and kind of square up that pit exit a little more, and now they penalize you for that.
Munoz on pit road, and Jaden Munoz, black flag pit road, speeding, coming to his stall. 40-second hold.
Yes, I saw him lock it up as he pulled off. This is such a tricky pit lane to get right, and he just locked it all the way up.
Yeah, watch this again as he comes in. He's just locking. He's like, and he kept it off the wall. But unfortunately, that's going to be a 40-second hold, and if this race continues to run green flag, he's not going to be able to pull a Jacques Villeneuve at all and come back from this deficit and try to win this thing without any caution. And there he is. He's still currently being held on pit road for the penalty, and he will be released here very, very shortly. And there he goes. So now this all of a sudden becomes a bit of an extended test session for Jaden for tomorrow's race. Adam Blocker, pit road.
It's so frustrating when you get a penalty like that because you just know that it has ruined your race. But if he gets a caution, he might be able to maybe get the wave around and get back on the lead lap. But he would need things to fall his way for that to be a possibility for Munoz.
And that was the case for Jacques Villeneuve in 1995 when he won his one and only Indy 500. He was penalized for passing the pace car by USAC for 2 laps. And managed to get that back naturally without the aids of wave rounds and everything at that time, and won that race. So it is possible. In fact, I've seen someone in the lineup here in a race that I broadcasted, and there goes one of them, Jason Brophy. There he is. He came back from 2 laps down at Pocono in the Elite Racing League back in their 2024 A season, I believe, to win that 500-miler. So it is possible to do it here in the sim, but he had some help from waiver rounds and whatnot. Villeneuve did not have the help of a waiver round. He had to do it the old-fashioned way, as the old Smith-Barney commercials in the 80s say. He earned it.
Oh no, Matt Halliball also too, black flag.
Oh, Matt Halliball speeding on pit road for the Satellite Racing driver, former Elite Racing League champion, and this is a very early stop. Maybe he can recover, but this is going to be very, very painful, Sophie.
Yes, literally over voice chat, Lucas Lodato asked, Matt, did you make it? And Matt just said, no.
Have you
So
ever had one of those
Max-
situations, Sophie, while you're in the race, when you're racing someone, they're coming with someone in the pit road, you just know that they were speeding?
Oh, all the time. I personally try not to focus on chat while I race, so I've never asked, but there has been times where I look and just go, well, I'm glad I'm not them.
Your leader now is Jeff Drake as we wait for him to come to pit road. He is 33 laps into this stint, and he makes that turn off of turn 4 down to pit road. He needs to get down to 60 miles per hour by hitting on that white line with those yellow cones up the top there. He needs to be at 60 miles per hour, and he now comes to the service of his crew. So Jeff Drake looking to be the economizer right now, as getting the most out of these first couple of stints on fuel as he answers pit road, the call to pit road. Back out on the racetrack, though, that is going to turn the lead back over to the duo of Alexander Russell and Jacob Oster, as they now have a little bit of lap traffic separating themselves and Jason Brophy, who's in third, in the form of Lith Fox.
Yeah, this is going to be really critical for the likes of Russell and Oster to kind of put some of those lap cars away early, because they do have a kind of a pack just ahead of them. And same thing goes for Jason Brophy. If Brophy wants to advance his position past P3, he needs to get through, kind of sight this way through these cars to stay within draft range of the 2 cars ahead of him.
Jeff Drake comes back out and he pops into the 9th position, right into a big hive of bees with Alexis Newsom, Van Nessa, Ty Quilla, and Clindy. So he has got to get it right back up to battle right away. He can't afford to baby those tires any more than he has to right now, as he gets thrown right into the path of battle with a battle between 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th on the racetrack. So Jeff Drake back out, but that 9th spot. But current leader is Malushka, and at about lap 70, it's about a good time to run down the field and give you a good once through. And everybody, if you have a favorite out there, shout them out in chat. Blocker, purple lap that time by 2:26.8 in the draft behind Jason Brophy. But your leader right now, and starting to put a little distance between himself and Jacob Oster, is Alexander Russell. Remember, Alexander Russell started on the front row in his debut race, or one of his debut races for Power Slide Racing. And the PRI Hoosier 500 in December, and he smashed the wall, and he hit him very hard, and he was forgiven, but he's gotta have some damage.
Yeah, he was forgiven from having terminal damage. I saw the wheel flopping, but then iRacing forgave him, and immediately Oster is going to pounce. What a heartbreak for Russell there. He just pancaked the wall, and that, yeah, he has got floor damage. I am looking at it right now, Gary. That is going to hinder his chances. He still has a strong car. There's some things you can maybe do, Gary, but your options are quite limited. Yeah, you can see if you focus on that edge of the floor just below the side pod, you'll see it bent up. And if you go to a car like Jason Brophy's that's clean, it's just flat.
Now, let me ask you from a driver perspective, was that caused by the dirty air in front of him? He hasn't been racing it a lot in dirty air. He's now encountering lap traffic. Was it because of that, or was it a momentary lapse? It happens to all of us. We're what I call the dog days of the race, the dog laps of the race. We're in the middle of the race. All these drivers are doing really now are just trying to maintain pace, pick up positions, and make it to the next pit stop so they can make it to the next pit stop, so they can make it to the next pit stop, so they can get to the last pit stop to get to the end. Did maybe he lose focus by just, it's just, kind of turning into a bit of a boring green flag run? Or, I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Sophie, being the driver expert here? Put yourself in his shoes.
I mean, I've been in that exact position where I've made that exact mistake. If you haven't been running in dirty air very often, particularly during this race, it's so easy to forget how much you need to lift, forget where you need to place the car, or that you need to steady the car in front. But also, it could just be a lapse of judgment. It's one of those things I would say is a bit of column A and a bit of column B, Gary. And
a good opportunity here while we have Jacob Oster in the lead to transition to one of our little promos for tonight. And, yeah, this is the P1 600. He's the defending winner of that. As, well, actually, we get a battle for the lead, but P1 Broadcasting is excited to announce the second running of the P1 600, a crown jewel level event exclusively for the iRacing IndyCar community. It's a 600-kilometer, 186-lap battle at Michigan International Speedway on June 13th, 2026. It's an all-star driver roster. The iRacing IndyCar community, a lot of the same drivers you see here today, will take the grid. They'll be competing for over $300 in prizes, so stay tuned to the P1 channel, the P1 Discord, or the iRacing IndyCar community Discord servers for more details and entry applications. June 13th of Michigan will once again be a race to remember, and Jacob Oster is your winner of that race a year ago. As we see him going into, and he just sends it to the inside there over, that is Walker and Paz.
Walker and Omir, I believe.
Oh, Walker and Omir, that's right. Walker's in a very similar looking car to Paz, my mistake. Here's a battle for position a little bit further back with Blocker getting a bead on Brophy, but not able to pull off the pass.
Yeah, and that's over position number 2, and if you notice, there's 3 cars between them.
Yeah.
Oster has now got 3 lap cars between them, and Walker might be thinking maybe I can get my lap back if there's a yellow. Which we've seen some cars kind of smack the wall. Not enough to bring out a yellow.
Wow, Smeaton got really... Oh, wait a minute. I'm trying to... That's Mitchum, I believe. And
that's Matthew Mitchum.
Yeah, that's Mitchum. He is in one of the Nexus Esports cars, and he got really close to Omir, and he had the lift, and that's going to open up the door for Brophy. Brophy trying to get by him, but see what we got going on in front of these, as you know, there's no blue flag rules here on oval racing, so they're not being told to move over, but they're also racing for position. The cars immediately in front of this battle, Brophy and Blocker, they're also racing for position where they are in the order.
Yeah, and one of the things is, if you are a James Walker, you actually want to try and repass Oster, because if a yellow flag comes out and you're back ahead of him, you get your lap back, the field gets bunched back up, and you get cycled to the end of the field. You are reprieved from being a lap down, and maybe you could go into the pit stop, kind of make some adjustments to your wing, maybe figure out, hey, I got the step 1, it's not giving me enough downforce, I can kind of crank up further on that wing, and maybe, make some adjustments and make a reset and refocus. But if you are someone further back in the field with less of a chance, you're not really going to be fighting, as we see Matthew Mitchum just kind of fall away, as now Brophy's working on Omir.
We'll go back to that battle a little bit further back. We were looking at Robert Malechka. He got around Glindy, and he is using the high line to make up a lot of time now, and he's gotten around Jeff Drake. He got around Soria, and he's slowly moving. He's caught this group just by virtue of the pit stop and being able to maximize his in and out laps. He's ran this group down. Remember, he was about 6 seconds behind this group at one point.
Yeah, and that was a storyline from the Hoosier 500, Gary, was the fact that all of the power slide drivers were gaining on average about 3 seconds over a pit cycle. And we saw that with the likes of Russell and Oster. So if you use the native pit limiter that comes in the car, it actually kind of runs like 1 kilometer an hour under the pit speed limit. So if you can, program something or find a way to have really good throttle control, you can keep the car exactly on the actual pit speed limit as is in iRacing, and kind of gain on those who otherwise would be using that limiter.
Van Nessa had to keep it really high, wide, and fancy coming off a 3 into the short chute, as he gave a lot of room to the inside of Alexis Newsom, and they managed to keep it off the wall and keep it still green. But, man, Van Nessa went way up in the gray.
Yeah, and Van Nessa then takes the position back from Newsom, who is probably looking at the rapidly approaching Malechka, kind of waiting with dread to find out when she is going to fall victim of the hard-charging power slide driver. But to kind of get back to the what we were talking about earlier, Gary, that's where a lot of that time for Malechka is coming from. It's coming from the pit cycle. He's able to go down the pit lane faster while staying within the legal limit. He hits his marks, which is the part that's definitely what you need to do skill-wise. And he definitely is taking as much of an advantage on the entry as possible, making sure he's taking full advantage of the hybrid, making sure that he is pushing that braking zone as far as possible. And that's something that comes with practice and experience.
And it's nothing against the ruls either.
There's nothing against the rules.
Nothing against the rules. Nothing against the rules. You don't have to use the native pit road speed limiter or rev limiter in the car. If you could figure out how to keep it under 60 miles per hour or right at 60 miles per hour. But you're right. When you're on the rev limiter, you're just a tick slow. It's like there used to be a little bit of a hack that people would do. Lewis, you know what I'm talking about. You would shift gears, first gear, second gear, first gear, second gear.
That still works, Gary. That is my trick, Gary.
There's no pitroad.exe hack out there. No, there is.
No, there is not. And speaking of, Jason Brophy now taking over the lead from Jacob Oster. Adam Blocker still watching from third. So even after Russell has kind of fallen down the order after that hard contact in the wall, Powerslide still out front. Still doing what it can, but Russell has lost his teammates now. He is well behind them, struggling in traffic, and he's going to fall victim to Hamilton Akabueze very shortly. Hamilton used to be of Team I5G as well of formerly of the team known as Fiercely Forward. Now those most of those drivers have migrated over to Nexus Esports. But the WSR driver should be able to make short work of the Canadian, because the Canadian has that floor damage.
And he should definitely smell blood in the water. In fact, I'm sure if they have someone in their team comms kind of working the box, so to speak. You could have that again. That's not against the rules either. You could have someone helping you with data and help with spotting, but someone has surely probably told him that Russell may be wounded, and if that's the case, to be cautious when you get around them, because that car. I'm willing to bet if Russell is wounded a little bit, the handling of his car is off. He's maybe had to adjust it and maybe throw some different, not just the weight jacker, Sophie, but he's probably even had to go to the anti-roll bar. And you don't adjust the anti-roll bars very much during the race, only for major adjustments. With a hit like that, there's probably a major adjustments involved, and his car is probably not only just being down on speed with floor damage, but it's probably not handling anywhere near it was earlier in the race prior to hitting that wall.
No, and for the viewers at home, how that floor works, it kind of you want to try that basically generates a lot of the downforce for this car in a way that is more efficient than the wings that you see on the car. The floor is shaped in such a way that it creates a low pressure area, and so that kind of helps suck the car down to the track. And then when you kind of bend that floor up, that alters how much low pressure air is being generated by that floor. And so Russell's kind of going to be down on downforce, and so he's probably going to have to do things with his tools, like going up on what we call the weight jacker, which kind of shifts the way the weight sits in the car by raising and lowering the right rear of the car. You can also adjust his anti-roll bars, but doing all that has a cost, Gary, and that is that Russell is probably going to be burning his right rear tire or his right front tire more than he would otherwise be because of the adjustments he needed to make. And it's also harder for him to pass to see how much he struggled to pass Walker here.
And, he does get around Walker. Walker, who is down in the order, is running a little bit slower, and he had a hard time getting around him. But if you've ever seen when one of these Indy cars ever flips and you see the bottom side of them, there's different tunnels. I believe it's called the Bernoulli principle, which is how air will work its way through the car, create high pressure and low pressure zones, and that helps suck the car to the tarmac. It actually, I think we even saw Mythbusters do a myth on this one time, that can an Indy car actually race upside down? And there is enough downforce being produced by this car that exceeds the weight of these cars And you can, if it was possible to do like a Hot Wheels track, and you could race these things upside down, and that's kind of what he's talking about with the floor damage. If you're not getting that proper suction because of the tunnels being damaged, the car is nowhere handling nearly correctly. And the early cars that we saw of IndyCar in history really starting with aerodynamics like that was really started kind of pioneered by Hall Racing, yes, with the Chaparral back in 1979 and 1980, source driven by Al Unser Sr. in 79, and then won by Johnny Rutherford in 1980.
Yes. So just want to highlight Ty Keela and Chris Vandeness have been swapping back and forth. This has kind of allowed Alexis Newsom in the 15 car to pull away. Alexis working for I5G. She is been kind of quiet, steady hand right now.
And Lewis, we see Jacob Oster on pit road. This time he comes to pit road, and he doesn't have a buddy like he's had the last couple of times. He's doing it by himself now.
Yeah, he have 30 laps on the stint. I really surprised. It can be wait a little bit more, but I think it's time to come in with 1:11 to go. It should be roughing. You know what? We're talking about wrestling at some point. We always talking about wrestling.
Yeah.
The fourth horseman is missing Robert in that lineup because we have a Brofin blocker.
That's right. We have nicknamed them the Four Horsemen of IndyCar racing on iRacing. They can hold the four fingers up, but that doesn't necessarily mean they got 4 Indy 500 wins, although Robert probably does, and I think Blocker actually does as well. But yeah, this is the Four Horsemen of IndyCar racing in the iRacing IndyCar community. It's Blocker, Brophy, Molechka, and Oster.
Yeah, we have the Ric Flair, Anderson, Blanchard, and Ollie Anderson also too in the iRacing and the community and IndyCar. But so far, I think Ric Flair is Robin Maleska. It is back on the pack with 13 seconds behind.
Now, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And Robert Molechka is the man. Of course, he won last week's fixed broadcast and also our broadcast. So he swept both of those back in 2024 when we returned from the darkout period or the blackout period. He won the fixed and open top split broadcasted races as well. He's looking to do that again this year. Of course, he won the PRI Hoosier 500. He dominated the race that we had here in the top split broadcast on Tuesday night, leading up to the fixed 500. So he is I asked, what is a bigger, we call him like King Molechka right now, King Robert, and we asked what is a higher rank than a king, and I had to research that. A higher rank than a king is an emperor. But an emperor is kind of evil because everyone thinks of like Emperor Palpatine or something like that, or the bad emperor from Flash Gordon or whatever. But I can't really call him an emperor because he's really a nice guy. He's a good guy, but I guess he would be the emperor of Indianapolis.
Yes, I don't really.
No. He hit the wall.
Oh, Robert Molechka hit the wall.
Commentator's curse.
Oh no.
We got to check this out again from a better angle on pit road. But Robert Molechka hit the wall on pit road. Let's see this again.
He locked up his rears on entry, and if he doesn't have wheel damage, he'll be very lucky. That is repairable. They'll take about 5 seconds, but if he's got wheel damage, that's day over.
Oh, right in front of Ty. Ty goes to the inside, and he has Clindy, his teammate, had to take evasive action, but that is nose damage unless it snaps back into place, and he is not being forgiven. And commentary jinx right there. Oh my goodness.
And he is back underway with a new nose.
Yeah, 13.3 seconds for repairs.
Yeah, and that's about expected.
Brophy,
5
pit road.
seconds for... Yes. 5 seconds is about what it takes to get a whole new nose section in these cars.
Yeah.
Just quick release bolts. So tough break for Robert Molechka, but he should be able to, still get a decent result out of this, Gary.
What other type of damage might be on his car as a result of a hit like that?
Wheel damage. So ironically, I have done the same thing. I was competing in a open setup league about a year ago, Gary, in their 500, and I was dominating the race, much like we're seeing the Power Slide cars doing here, and I did the same thing as Malechka, because I just forgot you have the brake bias set too far back, and you really need to get hard on the brakes to make that pit speed line, and you just lock it up and nose it into the inside wall.
It's one of the things that when I spot for a lot of people, I love spotting for these races and running data and strategy. Is one of the things I always say right before, as they cross the start-finish lines. We see Blocker coming to his stall and going up on the jacks, giving the lead over now to Jeff Drake, who is going long yet again. But I always tell the driver, as soon as they cross the start-finish line and that next lap they're coming in, I always say, when we especially get to the back straightaway, is I say, check your brake bias, make sure it's set in the way that you run it to set your car so it doesn't bite the brakes like that. And we've seen it more than one occasion, and not just happen to seasoned drivers, but even the rookie drivers. It happens to everybody. It is such a common occurrence, and it's happened to me, it's happened to you, and unfortunately it's happened to Robert Malechka for this 500.
Yeah, and there is a saying about this track that it's a track that chooses its winner, and right now it is not favoring Malechka with a moment like that.
Maybe it doesn't want an emperor.
No, maybe it doesn't want wrestling references. I don't know. I'm not a wrestling gal, Gary. So I don't know. I don't know who any of these people are.
We keep things in these middle laps very open for additional discussion, because these middle laps of these 500-mile races can just drag on. And you got to have other things to talk about. Here comes Lucas Lodato coming to pit road from third spot.
Yeah, and one of the things I wanted to highlight, I mentioned that Russell had that floor damage that was really hurting him. He has actually been able to make moves on Hamilton Eccleboise and kind of hang with the WSR cars, as well as Jaden Munoz. That he's not letting them get away, and it's not like a cakewalk. So, just to show how much effort the Power Slam with Team Hype cars have really put into their setups. They've been dominant in the Pro Series on these ovals, Gary, and this is just a textbook example of just how much work they put into those cars.
And he might have made some aero changes on pit road as well. I'm sure they have someone working within their team on their box, so to speak. And they might have adjusted the aero on that car to kind of compensate for bad handling. But there you see the conditions right now as Eccleboise and Russell are kind of swapping positions. And that is... who is that right behind him? That is... he's not. That is Munoz, who is down in 22nd position because of speeding on pit road, I believe. He's down one lap, but then you see 105 on the track tip. Track tip is coming up, Lewis. So, I mean, that might be the great evening factor right now, is that everybody, because of the tracks now getting hot, is having handling issues, not just cars that are maybe have damage on them.
Yeah, actually, it is true. Last time on the fixed set, it was like on 115, almost 20, and then went down again on the end of the race on 106, but different stuff because it was a fixed setup. Now, this guy can, like Sophie talking about entire race, about the mix set, about the setup inside, also about the pit road. They can change the winds. And I think it's according about the temperature they have at the track. They can change it, and they can figure out. I think it's too low, too high. Let's put a little bit low to about for the tires, also for the temperature on the track. So I really think for the show, I always said this, always for the show, and also all for Robert, come back to the action again. A yellow flag in the 50 to go, like it happened in the leagues, in the lead racing. 50 to go, yellow flag. It could be have a short time for everyone, but sure, Oster.
3 wide for the lead. Brophy to go on the inside of Oster, and then Anthony Estrada was just kind of on the outside as they all kind of go to lap him. scary moment there. Sorry to interrupt.
El Patron, Antonio Estrada, who is on my Saturday coverage for the IIS. He's in the booth with me. He did what he had to do. He just held his line and had to remain predictable. But man, what a Herculean effort there by the Mexican, because he had all the leaders. Every single one of them was around him as Jeff Drake came to pit road.
It wasn't in the dirty part of the track. He a little bit looked like loose on between the corner, but good handle for Antonio.
And you could join me in the booth next Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern time, with El Patron and Ryan Skywalker as we bring you the IIS Saturday Top Split. That's the IndyCar iRacing Series, the series that mirrors the real-world NTT IndyCar Series on iRacing. They will have their Indianapolis race, and it's an Indianapolis 500K, 125 laps here at the Brickyard next Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Join us, why don't you, right here on P1. You like to subscribe to the channel, and you're watching from the iRacing feed, there you go. Just shoot that QR code, and you can subscribe to our channel. We carry a lot of the IndyCar races on behalf of iRacing and the IndyCar community. Monday night, Indy Open Top Split. Tuesday night, Indy Oval Top Split. And the IIS on Saturdays. So join us over on P1. We know what Indy means. Trust us, that is our bread and butter, IndyCar racing. That's what we do here on P1. We are just past the halfway point. We did see Jeff Drake come to pit road. He is now popped back out. He is in the 10th position. He's really looking at, well, if he could keep squeezing out these 34s and 35 lap runs, he's looking at maybe 2 more stops, Sophie?
Yeah, so he would need to, so if you run 35 laps, 70 laps, you can start doing the math, and eventually it adds up to that 1 less stop. So there might be, if Drake can really keep squeezing it out, he might be able to be the winner at the end of the day if it goes green.
And he is currently in 10th position, 23 seconds total behind the leader, as he's now racing with Robert Malechka. I was going to say at one point we were going to try to go through the field, and some things changed that. But Jason Brophy, the Elite Racing League champion for 2024A, is currently your leader. Jacob Oster, the P1 600 champion, he is second. Adam Blocker, former Open Series and Fixed Series champion, and also a former winner of this race in the top split broadcasted race. He is in third. Hamilton Akabuizi, who won the Elite Racing League Indy 500 in the 2025A from the 28th starting position in a caution-free race, which is shaping up to be very much like today. He currently is in fourth. Alexander Russell is in fifth. He started on the front row of the Elite of the PRI Hoosier 500 in December. Currently out there, we believe, running damaged. And every indication, as we see from his car, with the graphics and close-ups, he does seem to be damaged on the right side of that car. And so he crashed basically, or hit the wall from the lead, or from the lead battle, and has been struggling ever since. But currently, he still hangs on to the top 5 in 5th spot. Sophie, I want to shout this guy out, and I'm not really kind of his homer, but he's a good friend of mine, and I love the guy to death. Clindy is in a battle with Alexis Newsom for 6th and 7th. Clindy is up 11 spots, now inside of the top 10.
Yeah, Clendy, again, just picking his way through the field, and Clendy, I would consider him a friend. I go to Orioles games with him, so I'd consider him a friend as well, Gary.
He is one of my pals, and I enjoy speaking with him. He's helped me on the channel here with some broadcasts. But in the Pink Panther, he is working with Alexis Newsom. Alexis Newsom was a competitor in the Elite Racing League for the first time this season. She was a rookie in that league. Won a couple of races. Won a caution-free 500-miler at Auto Club Speedway for their California 500, and she smacks the wall off at 2. Boy, we got to stop going through the field.
I feel like you need to maybe not shout so many people out. I feel like we're gonna start taking up a collection maybe of Gonna have some drivers pop in here saying, "Hey, can you give this driver some attention, please?"
Well, I do have the camera focused on Chris Van Den Nessa, and the reason why he's next in line, I don't know if Alexis Newsom has any damage. She's running up in the high line right now. What do you think?
I don't see any. There's no curve like with Russell's side pod, so maybe she has gotten away with it, Gary.
She is always one of my favorites to watch, especially in these Indianapolis races or 500 milers, as she is running down the Pink Panther right now. Chris Van Den Nessa, a lot of people know Chris Van Den Nessa, not in IndyCar, but from other series that he runs in. The Dutchman, and there's been a long history of Dutchman here at the Brickyard that has done well, specifically two-time Indy 500 winner Arie Luyendyk. This is Chris Van Den Nessa. He is currently in 8th. Ty Quilla in 9th. He's the PRI Hoosier 500 Rookie of the Year. He finished in the top 5 there, and he stormed from the back of the pack, had a mid-pack qualifying run, and was racing for the win at the end of that race. In fact, took it 3 wide going into turn 3 on the last lap, and he just kind of got muscled out by the power slide guys, but still kind of best in class for Ty Quilla as the highest finishing non-power slide car. And he get the PRI Hoosier 500 Rookie of the Year honors. And if you're not very familiar with the PRI Hoosier 500, this is a pretty good segue. There you go. PRI Hoosier 500. While May is home to the Indy 500, the Speedway will become alive once again this December with the PRI Hoosier 500, featuring the best sim racers on Earth, unmatched broadcast coverage via PRI, and the most challenging 500 race format on all of iRacing is what you will see when you tune in to the Hoosier 500 this December. So tune in this fall and learn out why that this is the world's greatest sim race. To learn more today, go to thehoosier500.com. And you can be a part of it as well. And it is an open setup race. And a lot of these drivers, in fact, half this field qualified for that PRI Hoosier 500. And Sophie, I don't know if you could speak firsthand, because I don't think you were attempting, one of the people that attempted to qualify, but you followed a lot of the drivers that did qualify for it. Qualifying for the Hoosier 500 is among one of the hardest things that people did all year last year in these cars.
For sure, because qualifying for this race, right, you have a 4-lap average. You just launch straight out of the pits and go. For the Hoosier 500, you do it just like they do in real life. You have the warm-up lap, and so that's extra strain on those Firestone tires with your setup, Gary. And a lot of people were talking about how difficult lap 4 was here, and it's even worse for the Hoosier 500 because you have that warm-up lap.
And on top of that, you're not guaranteed of even making the race. Here in iRacing, you're guaranteed to make the race, whether you want to qualify or not. For the Hoosier 500, you can, just like real Indy, well, not this year, unfortunately, but just like real IndyCar racing in the past, you can get bumped from the lineup, as we see Brendan Litzenberg and Robert Malechka battling here for 11th, as they are swapping back and forth as they're trying to run down a pretty huge gap up to Ty Quilla in 9th. They're about 5 seconds behind that gap right now. But, yeah, the PRI Hoosier 500, I will be in the booth one way or another for one of those races or practice or qualifying coming up later this December. So check it out, thehoosier500.com. It was pretty much this whole field, like 15 of the drivers in this field made that race. So if you make the Hoosier 500, you are doing something extraordinarily special. And, of course, Robert Malechka won that race. Brendan Lichtenberg won the pit stop competition. He currently is sitting here in 11th here with Team I5G. And Jeff Drake just behind him in 12th. Jose Soria just behind them in that black car. The plain black wrapper there in the number 12. He is 13th. He has a couple podium finishes in this race. And just behind Jose Soria is your former teammate, Sophie. And Anna, we'll give her another shout out. This is a former Open Series champion from a season ago. And the Deer has ran herself all the way up 14 spots into 14th position.
Yes, Anna, very good on roadside, obviously. Won a lot of rounds like at Mexico City during the Open Championship. But also, she's won a lot in the Votive Oval Series, Gary. So she's certainly familiar with how to drive these ovals. Want to highlight how much of a torrid pace the power slide cars have put up real quick here, Gary. They have just lapped JT Smeaton in 18th place. They have just been on a tear to where they are lapping that much and that much of the field. And this is a stacked lineup, as you say, Gary.
Yeah, this is the top split. I mean, the lead, the number one driver in this split is Robert Malechka with the highest I rating. Of course, he's a former Pro Series driver as, Smeaton got real smitten with the turn 2 exit wall there.
And that's just so easy to do, Gary, just because of the dirty air, but also this is a byproduct of what you learn in qualifying, is that the closer you get to those walls, the less you've asked the tires to do. You'll hear drivers kind of refer to it as scrub, right? The less you're...
Got it.
Yeah, Ulster is pitting in. But the less you ask the tires to do, the less speed you kind of scrub off. So you're trying to get as close to those walls as possible, and it's so easy to misjudge that.
Sometimes you get, and this happened to me, and I'm sure it's happened to Lewis, and I'm sure it's happened to you, but you could talk about it, Sophie. You kind of sometimes, when you get into the, like I said, the dog days of this race, the middle laps, you're just turning laps, you're just making time to get to that next pit stop. Sometimes you get hypnotized, and all of a sudden, the next thing you know, you're in the wall.
Yeah, it's so easy to lose that focus, exactly as you say, because it's just such a long race, and you're having to make adjustments for each corner of the track. I mean, especially with the wind direction. If you're in dirty air, you might be trying to do fuel calculations if you don't have a teammate. Because again, one of the things you could do is adjust for fuel maps. And if you're sitting here thinking maybe I should cut out a pit stop, and you're trying to calculate if you can do that, that's really difficult to do, Gary. And so it's so easy to just have that mental lapse and smack the wall. We've seen a lot of talented drivers do that today.
And we suspect that this duo up front, Brophy and Blocker, will be coming to pit road. But let's ride with Blocker. And you could talk us through one of these laps, Sophie, as we ride with Blocker. He might actually be coming to pit road here soon, so we could do this later if it doesn't work out this way. But it's when someone's watching this from home, you're just thinking, this is IndyCar racing. I have all this downforce. I can just turn the wheel left, turn the wheel left, turn the wheel left, turn the wheel, and I do that 4 times a lap. That's not necessarily the case. And, it sounds like he's at 100% throttle, but he might be cracking the throttle, and he might be working the weight jacker differently at each end of the racetrack every single lap. And it's almost like you're a pilot of a plane, and you're not nearly driving a car, but you're kind of controlling an aircraft out there.
Yes, and you kind of mentioned the weight checker thing, Gary. Another thing that a lot of people do, for myself, I have where, I can quickly, spin a wheel or hit a button and get my weight jacker, say, down, because the setup might be more aero efficient on the straightaways and go faster if I have the weight jacker in the negative positions. But I can't make the corner like that because of that introduces understeer, so then I have to rapidly shoot it back up. And so there's all kinds of things you're doing here. So if you're Adam Blocker right now, you're following Jason Brophy, you're using the draft, you're going to pop to the inside like we see him do. You're going to clear before the corner, kind of drift up maybe a little bit. And then you got to try and hold your line and hold the car as smooth and consistent as possible to keep your momentum up through the chute and through turn 2. And now, Brophy is going to be the one to get the draft, and so you are now going to be thinking about maybe breathing a little bit on entry to save a little bit of fuel, but Brophy doesn't pass him this time.
Maybe coming to pit road. We'll see if they're coming to pit road.
Well, if that's the case, then I'm going to be, nope, they are not pitting.
They're going to go, okay. Maybe he just wasn't close enough there, but let's talk about that. One of the things you didn't mention that now these cars have access to that we didn't have access to last time, and again makes these drivers even more busy and more liable to make an error smacking the wall when they did, just kind of lose focus, is now they have the hybrid. So while they're using the hybrid, we don't. It's basically our version of push to pass on an oval. They have to deploy the hybrid and then they have to regen it. And all the while, that's button pushing on the wheel as you're navigating traffic, using the weight jacker, going for the anti-roll bars, changing the engine mapping. You're doing it's like I said, a pilot. You're like a pilot of a plane. You got so many switches and so many dials that you're changing every single lap.
Yeah, and one of the things is that regen, that kind of drags on the car. It adds some mechanical drag. But, you know, so you could be trying to regen the car and ultimately lose some pace, or you could also just not be using hybrid. I know a lot of people have different attitudes about it. There's different settings, and so some people don't like using it. Some people use it a lot.
And you can use it unlike push to pass. And here comes Jason Brophy coming to pit road. We'll watch him as he slows down, getting to those cones. Whoa, and he did a great job as he's pitting here at lap 125. So this will get him to 155 or so in that neighborhood. He is 29 laps into this stint, so he'll be very close to that 155, and then his next stop will be in the 180s for his last stop. Yeah, your hands are very busy here, and it's not just turning left. It's not that easy, and the car's very much a challenge. And like I said, the push to pass, you can use it as much as you want here, or the hybrid is our version of push to pass on an oval. And it doesn't impact, unlike push to pass on road courses, it does not impact your mileage. It's strictly a battery charge. So again, if someone's using the hybrid a lot here, which you just heard from Sophie, you can, you're not impacting fuel mileage.
Yeah, there is a limit to how much you can use per lap, Gary.
Right.
But unless you're really abusing it, it's really hard to hit that limit here. And there are some little tricks you can do, like deploy over the line, that kind of reset it so that you can actually get a little further boost if you're feeling a little cheeky.
Yes, that is it's like a worldwide lag thing. I think I know what you're talking about. As we watch Adam Blocker going long and using a little bit of the draft from El Patron right now as the Dark Knight picks up the lead. And I'm seeing in chat here over on the iRacing side that a couple people have picked Drake to win, and Jeff Drake is now running second on that extraordinarily long runs that he's been on. And there he is. Jeff Drake is only 24 laps into this stint. We project him, it's at least another 10 more laps before Jeff Drake, we suspect he will come to pit road. Whereas Adam Blocker, I suspect Adam Blocker any time now. In fact, here he comes.
Yeah, Jeff Drake currently the only driver really going long here, and that can cut out a pit stop if he is able to continue that going long strategy. As long as he stays within a certain distance, Gary, he should be fine, because again, a lot of these drivers are losing a lap. So as long as he stays on the lead lap, stays within the right amount of distance between Oster, Blocker, and Brophy, he will probably be in a position to win this race.
And he is right behind Davia, who we saw earlier in the race, giving Robert Malechka all he could handle, just trying to pick up a position. And again, Jeff Drake looking to economize this run even further by picking up the draft for some lap traffic. Davia currently in 17th position on the racetrack. Drake currently is now picking up the lead by 2.3 seconds over Ferg. And at this point, I mean, he's in no hurry to pass Lucas. He's just getting free mileage out of this deal right now.
Yeah, he would not even want to pass Lucas because punching a hole in that air is going to hurt his economy. So he's going to want to stay behind him. As long as he keeps hitting that 2 liter per lap number, he is going to be good. And so his strategy is going to demand that he stays behind Lucas. And Lucas is clearly not that slow of a driver.
No.
Because he was obviously holding up Robert Malechka, so it's not like he's losing that much time.
If you're just joining us, this is P1's coverage of the official iRacing Open Indy 500 coming to you from Indianapolis. We've now completed 129 laps out of a scheduled 200. If you enjoyed P1's coverage of tonight's race and would like to monetarily support us, please find the link to our GoFundMe campaign in the stream description. Also, there's a link pinned in chat. We will take super chats as well. We realize times are tough, so any donation, no matter the amount, is greatly appreciated. Also, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next race. We do IndyCar races every week here for iRacing on the channel. So if you enjoy IndyCar, that is our gig here. be sure to check us out. We also have a lot of other leagues, including Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The Votive Indy Oval Series will be at Auto Club Speedway, and that should be a bit of a barn burner. Lewis and I will be in the booth with that. We expect about 40 cars on the grid for that race. So if you know how these cars race at Auto Club Speedway, then you're in for a treat when you see 40 of them on the 2-mile super speedway, or the X super speedway in SoCal, as Jeff Drake continues to hold on to his position out there on the racetrack, as Ferg and Kabaweezy, or excuse me, that's Ferg and Lucas Lodato, they're both teammates there in WER and their team. They just came to pit road. Lodato coming off of pit road right now. And also just on pit road is Ferg, as he is now leaving his box. So they're going long too, and they're looking at probably projected pit stops right around 165-ish or so if they continue going as long as they have in the last previous runs. And if the closer we get to 170, Sophie, the closer we get to 170, the safer they become by getting to the end on that last stop there.
Yes, 165 is the earliest you can pit and make it on fuel technically, but that requires you to be in draft constantly, like with what Jeff Drake is doing. The other risky part about the strategy, besides the fact that, of course, you could go a lap down, is if a caution comes out, you've been saving that fuel for nothing. It kind of resets the strategy, and it kind of cuts your advantage, because everyone's going to come in for fuel, everyone's going to come in for tires. So as we see Jeff Drake continue to circulate, we're going to expect him to keep going as long as possible during this green flag run. But Jacob Oster is rapidly catching it with 1.7 seconds back. He's almost within draft range of Jeff Drake.
Yeah, and Drake is coming to pit road next 3 to 4 laps. So he's about 10 miles or less before making the turn down pit road, as he continues to work off the back of Davala here and getting some free gas mileage here as we are now approaching lap 134 here of the campaign. And again, I'm going to knock on wood. Do you guys have any wood you guys can knock on as well? Because I don't want to be the only one that gives out these jinxes anything. But we are caution-free, people. We have not experienced a caution yet. We've seen some incidents, but we have not had a full course caution as of yet, and I don't want to be the cause of that. So knock on wood, we are caution-free to this point of this 500-mile race. Now, you might be asking yourself, as someone that likes to follow real-world IndyCar history, has there ever been a caution-free Indy 500? And the answer is no. There has never been a caution-free Indy 500. In fact, here you go. The official race average, the official fastest Indy 500 was a speed of 190.6 when Helio Castroneves won his 4th race in 2021. But there's never been a caution-free Indy 500. Now, Lewis and I have called a caution-free Indy 500 here on the service, and that was for the Elite Racing League. And we also called a caution-free 500-mile race at Fontana. But we've never called an official caution-free race. So could we be seeing one of those? And again, I don't want to jinx it, but there are all of your IndyCar records here at the Brickyard. Of course, Arie Luyendyk has that record that will probably still keep standing, even though we saw the speeds come up today, but not fast enough. And Scott McLaughlin has the official pole record, which we see. We'll get to the pit road here. There we go. And we see Jeff Drake coming to pit road as the pole speed for this Open 500 was faster than the pit record by McLaughlin. So we are actually faster than the real-world Indy cars, at least when it comes to pole speed. But keep in mind, the track record here at Indianapolis is not held by someone that won the pole. And if you don't understand that rule, you just got to go back to the old USAC qualifying rules of the 90s and 80s and 70s and so forth and so on. They've changed the rules since then, and that's why we won't probably ever see that happen again. But it's going to be a while before we see Arie's record ever fall. Jeff Drake down and away. He is pitting at 136. That's going to put him right about, well, it's going to put him right about 170, Sophie. I think this is his next to last stop.
Yeah, this is his next to last stop. So if he can just maintain enough of a gap between himself and Oster, and he is barely on the lead lap, Gary, and I'm starting to feel a little, if I'm Jeff Drake, I'm going to start feeling a little nervous because he doesn't have any cars that are that close to him in front.
Oh, he does. He
Still
has 2 leaders. He's got Ferg and Lodato in front of him, and he's within draft range of him.
Well, yes, but so when you're that far off, Gary, you're not really going to be lifting into the corners. You're not going to be able to kind of put the car in 6th gear and crack the throttle and really save fuel. So his ability to save fuel, Gary, is going to be a little hampered by the distance between himself and Ferguson and Lodato. And they're currently swapping, which could pull them away from him further, because when you're running a more lean fuel map, Gary, you don't have as much power. So we'll see what Drake can do if he really executes as he starts to catch up a little bit on Ferg. He's really got to execute here.
Could he maybe be using this stint to push harder? And he just, okay, I'm going to make this next stint shorter, but I'm still going to be getting in the window that I think I can make it into one stop. Is that plausible?
It's plausible. I mean, again, he really he didn't need to go to lap 135. That just helps him where if he makes it another 35 laps, he goes in on lap 70. If he makes it 31 or 32, he can still make it on one more stop. He is in the best position fuel-wise. The question is where he is track position-wise.
And he is right in front of the leader. In fact, he's about a half a straightaway in front. And there we see our leader, Jacob Oster, picking back up the lead as he is racing around Matt Hollenball, former Elite Series champion for the Elite Racing League and a winner of a 500-mile race there in that series at Fontana. So Hollenball leading the leader on by, now punching a hole in the air for Adam Blocker to kind of follow suit. Blocker is second now on the racetrack. Brophy is in third. Akabuizi, he is well behind this battle. So the battle really falls off to fourth, about 10 seconds behind. In fact, these drivers would love to have a caution. They would love that. Would just close the gap and open up possibilities for us, Lewis. But right now, if they don't get a caution, right now it's going to come down to Blocker, Oster, and Brophy if they can somehow maintain the lead. But the dark horse might be Jeff Drake in all this.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, go ahead, Luis.
Oh, yes. So I think I really agree, actually. When you're saving fuel, you battle over there and you save fuel. And, for example, he battled with Marco Aurelio Drake at some point in 1 and 2. And it's coming the yellow flag out. It's like, my God, I did all this effort to come into the end, and it's gonna be gone. But for now, like I said, knock the wood for Drake, because he's doing a very good job for now. But for the show, what if you have a yellow flag out and have Hamida Kwawesi Klendi in the chat for the
wow, a late race shootout? Oh my goodness.
And even Robert Maleska come back with the incident in night. And for sure, you know what is happening when you have a yellow flag in the last 50, 40, or 30. Always is coming 2 more. So for now, it's happening like we see in ERL when we already knew who's gonna win after 100 to go, and I think we already knew who's gonna win in 90 to go with Jeff Drake and in 16.
Sophie, a little trivia question for you. What lap did Alexander Rossi pit on when he did his massive fuel save to win the 2016 Indy 500?
I'm gonna bet it was in the 160, the mid 160s. Gary.
You're on it. You're on it. It was lap 164. So keep in mind these cars are based upon the DW12. The DW12 holds the same amount of fuel that these cars hold. It's just the IR18 Aero kit on the DW12 hub. Now, keep in mind that Alexander Rossi is a pro driver, got paid a lot of money, and had a lot of coaching by Brian Herta in his ear to conserve that much fuel. But it is possible, if this sim is true to life, that 64 laps to the end, a driver should be good to go, with a lot of clutching and coasting, as we heard on the radio from Brian Herta to Alexander Rossi in that 2016 race. It is possible. Let's keep it open there. and possibly think about that as a possibility. But you're right. Drake cannot let his guard down or let his pace down because he is right in front of this battle. There you see Drake in your foreground, but in the background, there you see that blue car of Adam Blocker. There he is. That is your leader. That is your lead duo right there.
Yes, and keep in mind that Power Slide's last pit stop is going to be much shorter. Now, I do believe Drake is affiliated with Power Slide. He might not share the paint that they do, but I do believe he is affiliated with them. Correct me if I am wrong, Gary.
I see Jeff Drake in like 3 races a year, and I don't know. he shows up for the big. He's like big race Jeff. Big race, Jeff. If it's a big race, your fixed 500, your open 500, and your PRI, who's your 500? There's Jeff Drake. And Jeff Drake is in that battle with Lodato and Ferg. So he is right there. So he is back to probably saving fuel. Let's ride with Drake and let's listen.
Yeah, and he is currently in big lift. He was in 6th gear on the straightaway. Drops it down to 4th gear to kind of keep his momentum up through the corner. And that's kind of what he's got to do. He's got to get the car back up the top gear, get it back up to 6th gear so he can conserve fuel. And then he's probably not even running full throttle, Gary. And then he just lifts because of the dirty air, and that just helps him save fuel even further.
The more that he can keep out of that, we see on his wheel here, if you're not familiar with the R18 wheel, the more that he can keep that car out of the blinking blue, the better. Now, it's blinking a little bit on him, but if he can keep those lights out of the blinking blue, we know for sure he's saving fuel as well as we hear him lifting.
Yeah, and one of the things with him being in that lower fuel map, it's going to be really critical that he hits his marks every single lap because he's got to just keep the momentum up. And if he can keep his momentum up, then his lap times will not be too hurt by running that lower fuel map.
Lewis, we're getting into that portion of the race that Rick Mears always talked about, that you survive for the first 150 laps, or you survive for the first 400 miles, and then you go racing in that last 100 miles or that last 50 laps. And we are right there in that Rick Mears window, 4-time winner here at the Brickyard. And right now, I don't see a Rick Mears surge unless we get a caution, because we've been green flag all the way. But we're in that window where it's now playtime's over. It's time to race.
Yeah, actually, Drake is brave for that. It's brave for I want to keep it like that. I want to keep it like this, and that's the Drake want to. And I really been in that situation. Like I do everything good, and always something happen. And you mentioned that. Everyone has mentioned that. You want to be on the front with 30 to go, and I think Drake, the way he's doing the saving fuel, all the stuff, it could cost him a little bit.
There's some pit stops occurring here. Sorry. Ty Quilla coming to pit road. He is on pit road about 29 laps into his stint. Bringing with him is Van Nessa. Coming off of pit road is El Patron. Antonio Estrada just coming off of pit road. Brendan Litzenberg. He just stopped a lap ago. So pit stops. We're already, Sophie, we are already to the next round of pit stops.
Yes, and for the drivers pitting now, this is their penultimate stop. They need to stop again. There is no way you're getting 50 laps out of the tank. So they're going to be pitting, likely needing to take on 50, like half a stint worth of fuel. But that's still, they're going to probably change tires. And it's about 7 seconds, Gary, to change your tires no matter what you do. So I still think this is Jeff Drake's race to lose right now.
MAB coming to pit road in the background. Lewis, we talked about this before in other oval races that we've covered on the channel or for the Elite Racing League. We're kind of in that period now where you always say if you had the pit twice in the last 50, just split them up, 25-25.
Oh yeah, actually, that's the strategy I used to have it, I don't like to just going to the end of the stint and have to put it in at 10, 15, 10 to go. That's a waste of time. Actually, I always think in my mind, 10 to go, 15 is you cannot do nothing. Maybe you can do something in Charlotte, maybe you can do in Atlanta, or maybe in some of that 1.5 miles track. But here it's like it's better to, if you have a 40 to go, just split in two and going for 20-20 or maybe 125 or make it one short stop. And that's it should be all these guys have to do it, like especially Oster soon.
Battle between Ty Quilla and Chris Vandenessa. This is for 12th on the racetrack. Right behind is Clindy. These all came to pit road. We saw a little puff of smoke there, I think, as Ty Quilla might have net-coated into the wall a little bit. But he seems to be okay. And there's Robert Malechka coming off of pit road. Under full chat there. We don't know how damaged he is, but he's currently in 14th position and needs a caution in the worst way if he is going to play a role in the finish of this race. Alexander Russell has fallen down to 9th position right now on the racetrack as he's racing Finnegan Myers, who has worked his way up 18 spots in the 9th position. Keep in mind, we are going through pit stops right now, so some people are coming up through the order through mileage.
Yeah, and one thing I wanted to highlight here really is I do wonder if Malechka has wheel damage, Gary, because while it might not have been enough to meatball his car, it probably is affecting the handling because he was making short work of a lot of people, and he has just not been able to make much forward progress at all after that incident, Gary.
I can almost hear him if I were to ask him, what did you learn from this race, if he was really using this race as like a live scrimmage? And his answer would be, don't crash on pit road. I can almost predict that as his answer. And it would be if no one else over the course of IndyCar history has ever made incidents on, no one else made an incident on pit road, it's one thing, but it's happened to the best. Remember, Scott Dixon was leading the Indy 500. He had to make one pit stop to get to the end, and he was going to win the darn thing. He dominated today, and what happened? He sped by 1 mile per hour coming to pit road, and it cost him his second Indy 500 win. It happens to the best of them.
Speaking of pitting, Jason Brophy pitting from the lead. So he's making his penultimate stop right now. This would mean Adam Blocker is likely going to be pitting sooner as well. He's gone a little bit longer, Gary, so, you know, I'm curious to see, maybe the strategy for them is to kind of run as long as they can on their last stop. Don't take tires, just take fuel and go. If they felt that the tires aren't falling off all that much, that would make sense. As Blocker gets way up close to the wall there.
He sure did. Here's the weather update, 109 and 6 miles per hour on the wind out of the west right now. 81% on the humidity, so the air is heavy. Someone in chat over on the iRacing side says they were present for the fastest ever 500-mile IndyCar 500-mile race at Pocono in 2014. That is correct. I believe that race went caution-free. If not, it had at least one caution, but I believe that did go caution-free. That was over 200 miles per hour, the average for that race. But there's never been a caution-free or a race that has averaged over 200 miles per hour at Indianapolis in real IndyCar history or Indy 500 history. Fastest is that Castroneves win in 2021. I was at that. I am proud to say I was at all 4 of Castroneves' wins. Adam Blocker, who is an engineer on one of the Chip Ganassi Indy Next squads. They unfortunately will not be racing in the Freedom 100. I needing to bring that back. I'd love to see Adam get a chance to get a win on the oval as an engineer. And he has won here many times in virtual racing, and he is back up to speed. Most recently won here in the Classic IndyCar Series. They drive the Dallara IRO 5s down the backstretch. There goes Oster. Oster gets a jump on him and gets back to the lead, but Blocker in second spot coming back up to speed. But Blocker won that's his most, I believe, his most recent Indianapolis Motor Speedway win in an IndyCar is that Classic IndyCar Series about a year ago.
Yeah, I believe in the community Discord, Blocker has his name set to all I do is finish P2. I think he is aiming to change that today. He has been doing what he needs to do. There's a good chance that he...
I laugh at him saying that he finishes P2 all the time, knowing how many wins he has.
Oh, for sure. No, he does not just finish P2. Currently running P2 as Oster passes him here, but what I suspect might be the play for him, Gary, is running longer so that he takes his final stop, just needs that splash of fuel, and that might be enough to keep him ahead of Jeff Drake, and it might be enough to propel him just that little bit ahead of Oster or Brophy, who might need to take a little bit more fuel.
If Blocker had a bit more luck like Tom Sneva, where he literally did finish second place all the time, exception with his lone win in 1983, I think Sneva finished second 5 times, and I could be wrong there. But I believe he leads all drivers in most second place finishes at the 500. Then maybe I would say that he finishes second all the time. But no, dude is always running for the win here at Indianapolis, Adam Blocker. As we are now at the 400-mile mark, and we are on that last 100-mile window. Blocker, your leader. Oster second. Brophy third. Jeff Drake has worked his way up the fourth. As we get the camera on Drake. Drake is now 25 laps into this stint. He went 34 last time, so he's got at least probably another 9 to 10 left in that tank. Blocker recently stopped. Oster is 13 laps into his stop, or into this stint, so he'll have to come to pit road soon. Brophy, he is 5 laps into the stint, so by short stopping, and I think this might have put a kibosh on the Drake run, I think with Blocker and Brophy short stopping, they were able to come out in front of Drake and still maintain the lead, maintain their lead in front of him.
Yes, and that was kind of what I was alluding to with Drake needing to maintain track position, because ultimately it doesn't matter if you've saved a whole pit stop. If you've fallen behind by the amount of time it takes to do that pit stop, it doesn't matter you saved it.
So Drake still needs to come to pit road, and he will have one more. That will be his final stop when he does. But we still suspect that... let's see, Blocker pitted on 157. He for sure needs to stop again. Oster on 147. He for sure needs to stop again. Brophy at 155. He for sure needs to stop again. So all 3 of these guys need to stop again. So there's still a chance that they could get passed by Drake. But Drake is coming to pit road probably in the next 7 to 8 laps. 7 to 8 laps. Let me show you... Pit stint length here. And Drake's been able to... Go ahead, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. I was going to say, I'm willing to bet that Drake might be coming in a little bit earlier because there's been less cars running. And if you look, the gap between himself and Ricky Paz, who is the car that's next in front of him, not for position, but that's a pretty big gap, Gary, and so he's not going to be able to save as much fuel with that kind of gap. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's not able to save as much as he's been in the previous stints.
All right, so on the on your screen there, 34 laps is what he did on his last stint. So we suspect that he will come in the neighborhood of that number. Maybe not at it, as Sophie said, that he's running in a little bit more cleaner air without the aid of the draft, so he might not be able to economize as much, but he's kind of catching Ricky. He is in the draft envelope of Ricky. Ricky's only a second up the road, so he's a half second within the envelope, so he should be feeling some benefits of getting some mileage on the straights, but he'll also be catching the dirty air in the corners from Ricky Paz.
Yes, any draft helps, but it's really when you're right on the gearbox of them and you can kind of just put the car in gear 6 and just let the car sit at half throttle that you really save the most amount of fuel.
Clindy and Tyquilla have very consistently worked with each other all race long, and the Pink Panther and then the Lone Ranger of Tyquilla there. Clindy up 11 spots, and as soon as he's kind of cracked the top 10, it's kind of where he's been in the lower portion of the top 10 most of this race. he needs a caution in order to for this field to get grouped up where he has a shot to maybe pass some more other drivers and get a better finish. But right now, as it looks, if we were to finish this way, he would be pretty much locked in to about the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th position on the racetrack. I think he's trying to work with Ty. They're probably in comms together to try to reel in the group in front of him. And let me give you the gap to the next car. They got about 4 seconds to Russell. Actually, with Russell being kind of injured, Russell might come back to them by the time this is all over with. But right now, they really need a caution if they want to be a player for a win.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised, maybe, Gary, if some drivers who are currently racing each other for position get a little bit more aggressive, maybe a little more forceful, because we're in the closing stages of the race. So people might not be playing as nice as they were previously.
Back up front is Adam Blocker, the Dark Knight. He's been, remember, he was not hustling for the lead early on. He was just kind of back there, third in line, economizing, biding his time. I mean, it's a marathon, right? It's not a sprint. And he's just biding his time, and right now, he is looking pretty good about it, as he is your leader. Jacob Oster is in second. Oster's been up front all day long. In fact, he inherited pretty much starting up front when Molechka started from the pits and moved that entire row forward. Go ahead.
Drake is coming to the pit now.
There's Drake coming to pit road for his final stop, and he's right in the window. Perfect timing. He's gone 32 laps on this stint. He went 34 last time. As Sophie talked about, he might not have got as good fuel mileage, but still, even if he could go another 2 or 3 more laps, why not? You're in the window to get to the end. Come to pit road. That's less fuel you have to put in, and he should be good to go to the end. Final stop for Jeff Drake.
Yeah, I like the strategy from Jeff Drake, but it just comes up a little bit short with the pace that the Power Slide cars have put on. Earlier in the IIS season, Gary, I distinctly remember being in the position of Jeff Drake. I cut out an entire pit stop at the Sebring round and nearly got Alexander Russell that way, but ultimately his pace just meant that he was able to overtake me as I continued to need to save fuel. So even if you manage to cut out a pit stop, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to guaranteed win or guaranteed podium.
It got tight there between Blocker and Lodato off of 2, as now Lodato is a lap down, and you did see Blocker put down Jeff Drake. He is now down a lap, now down 2.5 miles to the leader. So when the leader comes to pit road, Drake's got to push like there's no tomorrow and get that lap back. And the problem is, when he gets the lap back, he'll just be at the tail end of the lap. So he'll still have to make up another lap after that in order to pass Blocker for the lead. So I think the campaign for a win for Jeff Drake is over, but I will agree with you as he passes Alexis Newsom. I will agree with you, Sophie. A great effort. I mean, you lose all the gambles you don't take. It was a gamble, and it's just not going to get a win. It's going to get a podium, but not a win. Here comes Jacob Oster to pit road.
Yep.
This will be final stop for Jacob. Again.
Yes, final stop. Don't miss your marks. Don't speed.
Yeah, you do not want to make a mistake here. Do not slide through, and he's dead on it. He goes up on the pneumatic jacks. New set of tires for the Firestone Firehawks, and just enough fuel to get to the end. That's what E stands for in these cars. E stands for enough. He rejoins back in about 7th position, now 8th position. Now 9th position as Molechka goes on by. And we are still not in, we're kind of in the danger zone for for cautions happening, folks, with these cars coming to pit road and trying to hustle off pit road. I don't think you'll see I don't think you'll see a car lose a wheel like Graham Rahal did in 2021, but you can clip that grass and spin out, no problem.
For sure, and it also could be a situation where you forget that you had a bunch of positive weight jacker put in the car, and while that's great up on the banking and when you're at racing speed, Gary, it also means that, say, when the track is flat, that car's going to be extra loose, and it's really easy to lose a car that way.
Brophy to the inside. Oh, Brophy's trying to get by Ferg now. Actually, that's Lodato. Lodato is proving pretty tough to pass right now. Sorry, those WER cars are very identical.
Yeah, it's only in the numbers that they are different, and Brophy is wanting to go because he needs to stay in touch with Blocker. Blocker currently looking to lap my good friend Anna Klemek, sitting in
12th.
Yeah, Anna from 28th on the grid, I believe, Gary, up to 12th for the Deer.
Of course, Anna from New Zealand, Scott Dixon, famous New Zealander drivers. And also Scott McLaughlin. Proud history of IndyCar drivers from that country. And on the virtual side, Anna Klemek joining those ranks. Open Series champion.
Oh, Ricky Paz with Bilbo flag, hit the wall on turn 1.
And he's coming to, yeah, he's no yellow, but he's coming to pit road to answer any service that he only did one lap on that stint. So that was on cold tires or kind of hustling it, and that might be day done for the Mexican as he comes to pit road, and at least they'll throw in a new set of tires, top off the gas if he needs any, top off the fuel, and take a look at the damage.
Yeah, several of the drivers who have meatballed that way have retired from the race, including the likes of Jarrett Corey, Matthew Mitchum, Matt Taylor, and a few others. So, tough break for Ricky Paz.
Here comes Brendan Lichtenberg to pit road. Clindy, final stop. Lichtenberg, final stop. Tyquilla, final stop.
Yeah, right now I am going to be watching how the likes of Adam Blocker and Jason Brophy navigate this traffic. After all, in the last 500 in the real world, Gary, it was Alex Palou being in traffic that really hampered Marcus Ericsson's attempts to get around the Spaniard, as we see Klemek pulling off onto pit lane, and Brophy has gotten around the WSR cars.
All right, if I call them the WER cars, WSR, my mistake. Yeah, you're right. In fact, that's how Ericsson lost the lead. He kind of wasn't paying attention. He got suckered in a false sense, and Palou got the drop on him on one and in the one, and then he was never able to get it back because the cars in front of him, I think one of them was Devlin DeFrancesco, and I forget who the other driver was, but they were racing for position, and on top of that, they were racing for thousands of dollars of prize money too, so they weren't wanting to get out of the way at all.
Oh, I see a big cloud of smoke coming into pit lane.
Van Denessa on pit road, Soria on pit road. Final stop for both those drivers.
And they both really locked it up coming in, but I don't see any black flag for either of them. A meatball flag for Mohamed Omir.
Yes. Saw him blink into the pits. I think he, I'm not sure what happened.
It's flat tire. I think the tire is gone because I don't see any contact on the wall.
Well, I don't see him. He just manually disconnected. So I don't know what the story is there, but that's a tough break from the driver from Indonesia.
I'm not sure. Track Rocket driver, but I'm not sure what happened there, but day done. So that now we started this race, of course, with 33. We're down to 25. Last car running is MAB. Marco Aurelio Brazil, he's in 25th position, 2 laps down. Right now, the top 6 are the cars on the lead lap. Robert Malechka, last car on the lead lap. God, I never thought I would say something like that. Normally, he's leading the race, and but he's had himself a bit of an adventure, coming from the back to the front, having an issue on pit road, and since then, it's just not been the same since then. But Robert Malechka currently rides in 5th. He is probably coming to do to pit road any time now. He's lap 28 of this stint. He went 30 last time. He pitted last at lap 151. So I suspect that he'll be coming to pit road any time now as Anna Klimek scoots by on the inside, and that is just for track position. And once again, if you're just joining us, you're watching P1's coverage of the official iRacing Open Indy 500 coming to you from Indianapolis, where Adam Blocker currently leads with now about 20 laps to go. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next race. Also, don't forget to your commentary team by sending a donation via our GoFundMe campaign link. It's in the description if you're watching via P1, and we certainly would appreciate it. If you're watching via iRacing, why don't you shoot this QR code for us real quick and subscribe to the channel. We certainly would appreciate it. If you like IndyCar racing, that is primarily what we cover on this channel. Indy Next as well. And join us for future races over here on P1. I want to thank iRacing for allowing us to be simulcasted. We appreciate that. And we hope everyone's having a great Friday night. Jason Brophy picks up the lead now as he gets the bead on Adam Blocker, as they're now beginning a little bit of a swap drafting.
Yeah, Blocker immediately takes the position back.
And there you see Malechka, last car on the lead lap. It's Blocker, Brophy, Oster. But all of those drivers are going to have to stop. So it's a Blocker, and then it's Brophy, and then behind them as Alexis Newsom. Alexis, unfortunately, is an 18th. Not a good day for Alexis. 2 laps down. Oh, Brophy up in the gray on the exit of 1 there.
Something I want to highlight here, Gary, is Jacob Oster running in third has been navigating the traffic of Brendan Lichtenberg, Jose Soria, and Anna Klimek. And so kind of Jacob has basically been having to deal with a lot of dirty air, a lot of traffic. Meanwhile, it's been Brophy and Blocker swap drafting, and that kind of actually aids their ability to make up lap time as I kind of look at the lap times available from these drivers. And it looks like it might be a situation where Oster might lose out a little bit of track position as everything kind of settles out towards the end of this race.
Tyquilla and there we see Blocker, excuse me, Malechka coming to pit road for his final stop. Tyquilla still continuing to work with, easy for me to say, Kyle Clinworth. This is for the bottom portion of the top 10. They continue to swap draft. But Malechka, go ahead.
Just heard the call on voice chat. Brophy in this time, so our second place runner will be pitting this time by.
And here comes Brophy, final stop. As he comes to the cones, down to the 60-mile-per-hour pit road speed limit. And he's going to get everything he needs to go to get these last 15 laps over with.
What I'll be curious to see here, Gary, is if he goes up on the air jacks to get new rubber.
He slides into his spot. Oh, he missed it! He backs up!
It!
He missed. He's going up on the jacks, but that's going to be costly.
Yeah, and he is going to.
Yeah,
he's going to be fuming, but he's got to keep maintaining his focus because it's not over yet. Blocker could make a mistake. Oster could make a mistake. It's easy. You just
at this point,
do what you can do.
At this point, that was critical.
Look at him pits now.
Blocker. Pit stop, final stop here for him. Could this be the one for the victory? Does he get to his marks? Does he hit his marks? He does. He actually angles the car out a little bit. He's up on the jacks, enough fuel, new sets of tires. When did they drop them? He's down and away. They dropped them. In the box, only 7.8 seconds. Bolechka, purple lap, a 2:28.2 here in the late stages.
And Oster is going into turn number 1 right now. He is going to blow by Adam Blocker, move Jacob Oster up to the point. He's got a lot of cars between him and Blocker.
And how much does Brendan Lichtenberg want to work with Oster? I don't know that. They used to be teammates. Now they're ex-teammates. And I know from talking with other drivers that kind of when their ex-teammates are in the neighborhood, they want to race that guy a little bit harder and do him no favors. We're still friends and all. It's like that old Hanna-Barbera cartoon with the fox and the sheep hound, right? Where after hours they go out and drink beers, but during the work hours, the sheep hound always stops the fox. Well, that might be a bit of the situation we got going on here with Oster and Lichtenberg. How much you going to help me out, former partner? Maybe not at all. We'll see.
Well, again, it's 12 laps to go. They're coming to lap 189, Gary, and there are 3 cars between Blocker and Oster.
He's catching them.
And he's catching them, but Lichtenberg is passing Oster and then is swapping with them.
If I said Hanna-Barbera, I meant Warner Brothers. Sorry. Anyways. Need someone to chat going, that's not right. But here comes Blocker. Let's ride with him.
Currently on the inside of Anna Klemek.
I don't think, if I know the racecraft of Anna, I don't think she's going to get in the way, especially not with 10 to go, or coming to 10 to go. He's got to run now.
No.
He's got to run now on Soria.
No, and that's Soria's kind of the question mark here, because Soria might want to try and keep Blocker between him and Anna.
He's there.
But it looks,
He's there.
He is there within no time. And now the race is on with 10 to go. Blocker immediately goes to the inside. Oster tries to throw it down there so he can try and pass Lichtenberg.
Oh, we're going to go 3 wide into the corner.
We're going to go top of 3.
Blocker with the newer tires. Oster with the much older tires. He's trying to hang on to the outside, and he just can't quite make the muster with those Firestone rubber there. And he is now back to being T2, but he's not. I'm not out of this yet. Goes to the inside on Blocker at the yard of bricks and tries to get the position back again in 1.
That was a gutsy move by Adam Blocker, and he made it work, but Oster was not done yet. And it's going to be like that for the next handful of laps, isn't it, Gary, as the draft is so powerful here, and you've got the hybrid to help you make the move stick.
I knew someone would say something in chat. I see it right there. Anyways, Blocker back to the lead with the fresher rubber. And let me tell you, here is the pit lap, last pit lap. There you see the difference. So it is about 16 laps difference between in that rubber life. And the good of those tires is still very much on the tires of those Adam Blocker Firestones right there. And he's now starting to pull away with a little bit of a draft aid from JT Smeaton.
Yeah, and he's going to easily make short work of JT Smeaton and put the Thai American driver between himself and his teammate of Jacob Oster.
I see in chat someone asking if this, could we see another 92? I don't think so. Not unless we get a late caution. I'm seeing a 2018 here. I'm seeing when Will Power kind of pulled away from Ed Carpenter. It looked close there for a while, but Power just, really was able to. It was his day. As Oster way high in turn 1. I think this is going to turn into Blocker's day. 7 to go here at the Brickyard for the top split broadcast here Friday night, 9 p.m. time slot. Adam Blocker is 7 laps away from getting a top split win here to start and kick off Open Indy 500 weekend.
Yeah, the question is, does Oster have anything left? Can maybe Smeaton play a confounding factor here? We've already seen Oster try to run high. Smeaton runs high, and that's really going to hurt Oster. It's Oster has to get way out of it, avoids tagging the wall, but that's going to kill any of his momentum when with 5 laps to go. That might be game over.
Here's a replay of that, and again, Oster's trying to go where the clean air is. And that just didn't help. But he's back. He is sucked right back up to the back of Smeaton. Smeaton wants to stay in this battle because if he can get back on the, get back a lap. Right now he is 2 laps down, so I don't know how long he wants to stay in the middle of this battle. He is not obliged to pull over, but he does stay high this time. And here comes Oster to the inside. No, can't quite clear him.
No, and he nearly tags the wall. He was using all of the track to try and make that happen.
Now Smeaton gets out of the way. And now we have a direct battle between the top 2 as we are coming to 4 to go. A qualification run to decide who's going to win this top split, Sophie.
Yeah, and Oster was not entirely pleased with the situation with Smeaton. Smeaton really not racing anyone around him for position.
Smeaton finds the wall in the middle of the straightaway. I don't know if he was looking in the mirror or just a little bit of frustration or something, but he keeps it off the wall. Sometimes, we talked about this before, Lewis, when sometimes you make connection with the wall here, it's like a magnet. It reaches out and grabs you and it just holds you there.
And then you want to try to release the car. What's happened? You're going to the left, and you hit the ball to the other wall. Oh.
And Oster is there. He has caught the battle, and now they're side by side, coming almost side by side, coming off of 4, coming to the yard of bricks. 3 laps to go, and here comes Oster to the inside. And well, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I saw 2018 for a while, but someone else saw 1992.
Whoa!
Different weather conditions for this particular race. Almost contact in the short chute. That's going to allow Blocker to kind of pull away as Oster has the reset. 3 laps to go. 2.5 now as they're in the middle of the backstretch.
Yes, Oster really tried to send it in there on the inside, had to pinch it down to try and not take out his teammate that he is still racing for the lead. Blocker nearly caught the wall, but he was able to get a lot of momentum on the high side, and I think those new tires are what's going to make the difference here for Adam Blocker. We have got 1.
Here's a snake.
Yep, we have got 2 laps to go. We're working lap 199. Blocker's going to be weaving, trying to break the draft, trying to stop his teammate from getting up behind him again.
Ricky Paz gets out of the way. The next closest car is Chris Van Den Essa in 10th spot. He is 4.6 seconds down the road. He should be clear. This battle is going to be decided and not too far out of this. If something should happen between these two, if we should see a similar situation that happened between Emerson Fittipaldi and Allenser Jr. in 1989, Brophy may inherit the win. Coming to the white flag as Oster is challenging down the front stretch here, weaving, dodging, trying to hold on to that position. He's going to keep it low, but on the outside here in the 1, white flag is out. 1 lap to go in Indianapolis. Blocker down low into the short chute. He's going to hold it down low through 2. They're cleanly through 2. They're going to drag race down the backstretch for the final time. Here comes Blocker to the inside. Here comes Oster. He's going to take a peek to the outside. He's going to try to Joseph Newgarden it like he did a Paddle Award. Side by side into turn 3. They're still side by side, wheel to wheel. There's just not a lot of grip up there to get that momentum. Still side by side. Here comes Brophy. Brophy's in the battle. Here they come off the corner, turning for home. Who's going to win it at the line? It's a checkered flag is out for the 500 side by side. Here comes Oster. Blocker. Brophy right there. 3 embrace at the wind. It is Blocker by 17 thousandths of a second.
Blocker over Oster with Brophy nearly mounting the charge, comes up just short to finish in 3rd. What an absolute amazing finish, Gary.
Okay, it was like 1992. It was like 1992. Closer to 1992. Official timing and scoring has it as you see on your screen 002. We see it in our timing and scoring as 18 thousandths of a second. 018.
And 034 between Blocker and Brophy. And it was 12 seconds adrift for Jeff Drake. And then Hamilton Ecoboise, the first non-power sled car in 5th, finishing 18.3 seconds adrift.
And everybody, you just witnessed a caution-free top split 500-mile race at Indianapolis. Congratulations, everybody. Lewis, this is our second one at the Brickyard, third 500-miler.
I can tell you, it's really fast. I think, maybe I'm going to be wrong, but I have to verify pretty good. The speed average could be 207.3. I don't know, sure, maybe it's less, but it's really fast, actually. What we did in the ERL was a little more, way more, actually. I have to verify very well what's the final speed average on the race today.
If one of the mathematicians in chat want to shoot in what they think the average is, go ahead. We'll figure it up on our end. That's either the P1 chat or the iRacing chat. Just do the math and let us know. As Blocker doing the Polish victory lap. As someone with Polish heritage, I applaud this.
Yeah, Blocker currently driving in reverse. What a way to start the Open Indy 500, Gary.
Okay, so 0018 is the official, but what we see on your screen on the overlay here says 0.2, but it's going to be 18 thousandths of a second. That's what I'm going to say. So 18 thousandths of a second, even though it says 2 thousandths of a second there, or 2 hundredths, tenths, hundredths. You know, do your math. Math is hard. Tenths, hundredths, thousands. Okay, so anyways, Oster comes home second, just barely. Brophy comes home third, just barely. Jeff Drake with the gamble, and unfortunately, we won't be talking with Jeff Drake, but I would love to talk with him and his strategy. And man, like I said, Sophie, with Jeff Drake, you lose 100% of the gambles you don't take. He took a gamble, it just didn't work out in his favor today. You have a caution in there, and who would have guessed that we went caution free? Who would have guessed that we would? That's typically something you don't see, even in other splits. You don't typically see that. Who would have guessed we would have gone caution free? If he had one caution, it would have been completely different for Jeff Drake. But 12 seconds back. But again, you lose every gamble you don't take, and he took a gamble, Sophie. I mean, any final words on the effort here for Jeff Drake coming home fourth?
I mean, honestly, Jeff Drake did everything that he could to make that strategy work. It's just when you're having to fuel save, when you're having to go down on power and rely on the cars around you to be quick enough to keep you in that position, it just doesn't necessarily work out over a 500-mile race that is entirely caution-free, Gary.
All right, Akabuizi, who has experiences with these caution-free 500s, comes home fifth. Robert Malechka recovers the sixth. Alexander Russell nurses a damaged car home in seventh. Glindy comes home in eighth. Ty Quillen ninth, and Chris Vandenessa in 10th. And we'll let Lewis pick his driver of the race here momentarily, but we'll go to the next page. Ferg, Brendan Lichtenberg, Soria, Klimek, Lodato, Davila, Alexis Newsom, Munoz, Estrada, Myers. That's your top 20. Speeden, Hollenball, Walker, Fox, Brazil, Paz. And now we have drivers that had some sort of issue one way or not, but just never brought out a caution. Omir, Mitchum, Curry, Taylor, Mason Mitchum. So we had two Mitchums in this race again. Mitch M and a Mitch Simon, who DC'd, and Alexander Russell out early. He comes home in 33rd position. All right. So I need to get some B-roll here and get some replays. And then we will talk to the podium if they so wish to be available. It's quarter till midnight here on the East Coast, or in the Eastern time zone.
Well, I see all three of our podium finishers waiting in the interview room.
All right. Stand by. We'll pull them in here momentarily. I just need to get some replays queued up.
Yeah, I have a feeling, Gary, they definitely want to talk about that finish. Again, just an all-out dominant performance. It says something, Gary, that Alexander Russell, who dominated this race early, got that damage and was still able to bring that car home in P7 with a car that was pretty heavily damaged, clearly down on pace, but was still able to hold off the likes of Kyle Clenworth and other very stout drivers.
All right. And we'll go to the interview room, and we'll have I'll ask a question. Sophie can ask a question, and we'll get in their thoughts here. Let's see here. Go to the interview room and bring in Jason Brophy. So close yet so far there at the end. Let's talk about your race, but specifically, they got battling in front of you, and it gave you an opportunity, and you were there right there at the very end. I don't know if you had anything for him, but you sure made it look good. Congratulations, Jason, for finishing third, but I know you wanted that extra 0.34 of a second.
Yeah. This is the third broadcasted 500, because this is a broadcast that I have finished in a 3-wide battle and lost for the Open 500. So this hurts. Slid my box, changing my wing, trimming the car, and just missed my mark. Slid it, lost the draft, managed to get lucky and kind of latch on it right at the end and push as fast as I could, but just not there in time. So it's really disappointing. I mean, the car was good. The drive was good until the end. I feel like had I come out, I would have come out latched on if I don't slide my box, and I'd have been in really good shape, right? It'd been Adam and I fighting it out for the win, I think, with the new tires compared to Jacob. So just still really, really disappointing.
Go ahead, Sophie.
Well, obviously you mentioned sliding through your box. Do have to ask, with all of the other, you have a lot of team cars. Obviously, you have Russell, Jeff Drake, Malechka. How much coordination was going through there so you knew what adjustments to make and when?
We were talking through the whole race, but by the end, it was kind of just us three off on an island, right? Russell had an issue, popped the wall. I think Rob actually hit the wall, spun, and broke his wing or something. So, it was really just us three kind of talking most of the time. And we all knew that this was to some extent a test race for tomorrow, but darn if you don't want to win it, especially like being broadcast. Like, God, I wanted to win this one. And I knew the worst part is knowing coming off 4, I'm not getting there and I'm going to lose in a 3-wide finish. It hurts. We did a lot of talk. Adam and I in that last run were talking a lot about, do we need to pit? When do we need to pit to make sure we don't lose Jacob? And I had to pit a lap before him or 2 before him, and I made the mistake, and that's what it is.
Well, you can always try again tomorrow.
Yeah, I was about ready to say, I'm sure you learned a lot for tomorrow. Anything that is going to be of use that you got from tonight for tomorrow, with the exception of maybe tomorrow not being a caution-free race?
We'll see. I mean, I learned some stuff. I'll start toward the front. Thankfully, we got a good car. I need to be a little better as a driver. I struggled some through dirty air in there, so you got to be more consistent. But I think we learned a lot. I think we'll have a tougher time of it. There'll be more cars up there. Rob will definitely be starting up front tomorrow. So, this just hurts. Right, this one just hurts.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would love to trade places with you. So you just think of it that way. But any shout outs, friends, family, sponsors, anyone you want to say hi to before we let you go? And I know you got a long day tomorrow, so we'll let you get off to bed here and everything. It was an exhausting race being caution free. So go ahead and get your shout outs in.
Hi, Stover, Tommy Miller, giving us a chance to race under the Team Hype label. The Power Slide teammates been a Herculean effort, over the past I want to say months. I think Rob and I have 55 hours in each, at least before this race. So a lot of work to go after this one, and you guys for broadcasting. It's neat to see a Friday night broadcast, kind of the community feel on the iRacing channel, I believe. So that's pretty awesome. I don't know. There's a lot of people. Adam, Jacob, it's fun to race with them all day. Everybody else on the team. There's a bunch of other people I need to thank. So, but yeah.
Congratulations, Jason. Best of luck in tomorrow's race. One of these days, we know you're going to win it. It's Jason Brophy. That's what we expect. So just best of luck, and keep your chin up, and we'll be rooting for you in a future one.
Thank you.
That is Jason Brophy. Let's bring in Jacob Oster. And here's our winner of the P1 600 a year ago. But not the winner today. So close again, yet so far. Talk about that final lap, or the final handful of laps, running down Adam, getting to him, challenging him there for the lead, and also the lap traffic. I don't think was endearing themselves to you any late in the race.
No, I mean, I had to try something, and I knew with like 29 to go that, kind of looking at the track map, I would maybe get a good run of the lap cars and traffic to at least pull a gap before Adam and Jason could answer, and it kind of worked. But that tire advantage, man, that is an insane advantage, and I could not keep him behind me.
Go ahead, Zoe.
Yeah, I was gonna ask how. So you were obviously working with your former teammate Brendan Lichtenberg. How much of a gap do you think you would have needed just to stay ahead, given how strong that tire advantage was? Or was there anything you were still thinking of trying at that point?
What I would have needed is probably some more cars to come out of pit road within the 2-second window while Brendan and I were swapping before Adam pit. So if like 2 or 3 laps before Adam and Jason pit, if someone that came out of the pits in front of us and I started to tow up to them, would have been a little bit different story. But even then, I think Adam would have been enough on draft, enough of a tire advantage. He still would have got to me, but it would have been close. I'm just happy it turned out as close as it did, because I almost had it, but not quite.
Well, not today, but there still is tomorrow. Best of luck in that one. Any shout-outs for tonight so we can let you get rest, because before you know it, green flag is here tomorrow.
Yeah, no, well, but thanks to everyone on Powerslide, especially Robert, Jason, and Adam for all their immense work on the set, including Alex and Phil. Everybody, like, we put a lot of work into this, and I think it shows. Like, this is one of the best cars I've ever driven here, and it is a joy to drive, and I look forward to tomorrow, and let's hope that we can go about 19 thousandths faster in P1. Because I finished second. This is the second time I finished second in one of these. I don't like doing that.
Yeah, there seems to be a trend between you and Brophy finishing second and third so close on these things. So we know it's just a matter of time. And, you've won some big ones before, and we suspect in the future we'll see you again. But congratulations and best of luck in tomorrow's.
Thank you, guys.
That is Jacob Oster. Let's bring in Adam Blocker. And... well, there is a king of Indianapolis, but the king may not always be ruling all the time, because there still is a bit of a brickyard master, and that brickyard master has been doing this for quite a while, and he shows why he's a master today. Adam Blocker with the win, and really we just noticed you all day long, Adam. You just kind of running your race, and I don't know how much you were working with those guys, but we saw them swapping the lead up front. You're just hanging out in third. Not challenging, just back there working on mileage. You were able to go longer than the first two positions over the first couple of pit stops. And then lo and behold, as things shake themselves out and this race goes on, as we get into the last 75% of this race, there you are up front like a true Indy master, and held off a hard charge, not just from your teammate Jacob Oster, but also another teammate, Jason Brophy. And you managed to revisit victory lane. It's been a while since I think you won a big one here at the Brickyard. It might have been, I think I said the Classic IndyCar Series in the IR05s, but you're back here in the IR18s. Congratulations. Talk about your race and especially the finish there at the end.
Yeah, thanks. The last time I won a top split Friday broadcast in 2019, so that was a long time ago. But it was, like I said, how I drove this race is how I like to drive Indy, where I just sit back and try to save fuel and go long, and just be patient but decisive when I need to. And I was working with Jason for most of the race, because basically how it shook out up front once kind of all of us got ahead of Hamilton was Alex and Jacob were swapping, they were working together, and then me and Jason were behind him, saving a little fuel, and then we would swap. I think we were going to be exposed to the undercut at certain points, but then Alex got side pod damage from hitting the wall, and then that basically left Jacob without a partner on that strategy, and that really just allowed Jason and I to run long every time. And there was a couple times where we almost lost draft. It was very touch and go, and I would say I got lucky because there's been a lot of races in those situations where I have lost it. But we barely hung on every time, and then there was a couple cycles where I got really fortunate by getting a lot of draft on the overcut. But yeah, just saving fuel, just being patient. And the last stint, I knew I had such a tire advantage that it was. If I didn't win, I was gonna be embarrassed.
Well,
but
that's
Jason,
actually
on the last lap, Jason was gonna get there though.
Well, that was my follow-up question before I toss it off to Sophie here, is how much did those younger tires help your cause versus the much older tires by about 16, 17 laps of Oster? I would imagine that played into your calculations a little bit there at the end.
Yeah, I knew he was making up a lot of time during that cycle, but I knew he was 1.5 seconds behind me when he pitted. So I probably had 3 seconds to play with because, he could get a second and a half, 2 seconds ahead of me and I'd be okay. But, and that's basically what happened because I was in that traffic and I was making some moves, but I couldn't really go anywhere. Our lap times weren't great, but I was just stuck it out as long as I could in the end. But I was going to pit early if I had to stay with him. And then the second I came out and I felt how much grip I had, like I felt like I could have passed the whole train in like 2 laps.
You almost did.
But I felt like I was really patient with it, even though I could have just probably passed all of them in like 2 laps. But and then when I got there, I was hoping selfishly that Ricky Paz was going to stay out there and we were just going to draft up to him and I was going to be able to hold Jacob off that way. But once he pitted, I knew it was going to be a duel the last couple laps. So
go ahead, Sophie.
Well, Adam, what are you going to change your Discord name on the community server to now?
I'm not going to change it because the Saturday race is what matters. So this is just a warm-up to that. I've still finished second a million times, so it doesn't really change much. So, but yeah, it's still good to win one, obviously. So.
Shout outs, friends, family, sponsors for this big win. I know it's a little bit of a warm up for tomorrow, but it's still got to feel good. People you want to shout out, go right ahead.
Yeah, obviously the team kicked ass in qualifying. Like we were 9 cars out of the top 15 in the whole group, so that's awesome. And it was really cool to see how everybody worked together this week. Really. A lot of people contributed to the setup, and then the race setup today felt great. So really looking forward to tomorrow. Probably not going to change anything. So it was fucking good. And just want to thank everybody on the team, and thank y'all for calling the race. And everybody for a caution-free race. So
no kidding, man. That's I've now done 2 500-milers here at Indianapolis, caution-free, and 1 at Fontana. So it seems to be adding up. So I just want to shout out to everybody's racecraft for hanging on. But congratulations, and go get some rest because, like I told Jacob, race day is going to 1 o'clock is going to be here before you know it tomorrow.
Yep. Thanks. Have a good one.
So yeah. The quarterback for the Indiana Hoosiers, Mendoza, would be happy. I think Adam might have let a F1 go. I don't know if you heard it or maybe I misheard it, but he seems to be very happy, folks. But let's talk about the final interviews here, Sophie, and I'll get final thoughts here from Lewis. And certainly your driver of the race, Lewis. But Sophie, it almost seems like not even though Oster didn't say that, it's just the one mistake by Alexander Russell where he ended up in the wall kind of cost Oster his wingman, and that was his drafting help in the race, and he no longer had it. So then he kind of fell back into the clutches of these two.
For sure. How that ultimately played out really is exactly as Oster said it. Had Russell not tagged the wall, had he not gotten that damage, was able to keep up that pace, they would have kept swapping and probably could have broken the draft envelope on the two of them, and it would have been those two at the top step of the rostrum, or at least top first and second at least. and it would have been Brophy and Blocker fighting over third. But unfortunately, one lapse in judgment, and that resulted in Russell tumbling down the order.
Well, and you mentioned one lap in judgment. It sounds like Brophy is blaming that little slide through the pit that maybe cost him a second or so as being his shot. And if you look at how the results shook out, a second would have been a win by a mile, effectively, based upon how he finished today.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's easy for him to say that, and I don't mean that in a disparaging way, because
Right.
the way Indy works with the draft, it's more than likely, yes, he would have gotten out of the pits a lap sooner. He might have been in a better position to maybe try, but you never know with how Indy in the draft works, with how some of the lap cars were, particularly the likes of Smeaton. So it's possible that maybe he wouldn't have been able to get the run and still would have came in third, or maybe he would have finished second. Who knows? But it's certainly, if you execute the best you can, then it hurts worse. So I'm sure Brophy, knowing that he made that one mistake, is going to be thinking about it coming into the race tomorrow, and going to be making sure that he practices his pit stops and really kind of
Right.
maintains focus.
Yeah, just practicing those pit stops over and over again. It's almost like, after you lose a game and coach says, okay, you're all going to run sprints. He's probably going to be doing nothing but practicing pit stops here for the next 12 hours or so before we get to race time for the 1 p.m. race tomorrow. Lewis, final thoughts and your driver of the race. There's a couple choices up there, but I'm guessing one of them may be Anna Klimek, and one of them may be Clindy. But tell me, who is your choice for your driver of the race?
Sure, Anna Klimek is 14. She is starting at 28 and finishing 14. And Clendy is starting at 18, sorry. And he finished on 8. So it's going to be Clendy with 10 spot in 8th position for him. And final thought, for sure, Blocker said, I know it's winning an Indy 500 is a win, and that is always is going to be in your back. But it's a good approach for tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern time, when it's going to be the Indy 500, the third slot. Actually, it's going to be the top split. And like you said, this is the second time in Indianapolis, be and crosses free, and it's really fast. I already said it's in 2 hours and I'm gonna tell you 2 hours and 18 minutes. And normally it's over the 45
Right.
something like that minutes. It's
Right.
really, really late. And last time we finished at 12:30 p.m. a.m. Sorry, on the next day. So, but yeah, it was really impressed how we see that almost close Drake. Unfortunately for that, the pace it was really strong for Blocker, Ulster, and Brofin. But I think it's a good approach for all of these guys for tomorrow, especially for Robert to start on the front, because he is third in the qualifying. It's a third. It's a top 5 actually in the qualifying, but actually fourth. And Phil Krause is third, and Alexander Russell and Costantini in the pole position for the Indy 500 for tomorrow. Even Brofin is on 5 also. Unfortunately for Costantini, wasn't here, so maybe he's gonna attempt something, but it's better to do the test and like all of these guys did today. Not much to say. To be honest, it was a really entertainment on the end. Normally, Indy 500 in the middle with just normal routine and all the stuff about the save fuel and things, but it was really exciting on the end with Blocker, Oster, and Brofin winning the race. Winning the race on the end. So congrats for Blocker and good luck for everyone for tomorrow. And for all the people in P1, so see you on Tuesday night. We're going to be on the next round on the Indy Fixer Series.
Kansas.
Kansas. That's pretty good. So it's going to be around afternoon. And see you this Sunday, 8 p.m. for the penultimate round on the Votive IndyCar Series from
Auto Club.
Fontana, California,
Yep.
Auto Club.
Your provisional, actually, it's not a provisional poll. It is your provisional starting lineup for tomorrow's 1 p.m. race is Michele Constantini on the pole, Alexander Russell second, Phil Kraus third, Robert Molechka fourth, Jason Brophy fifth, Chad Simpson sixth, Jacob Oster in seventh, Hamilton Akabawizi eighth, Adam Blocker ninth, and Nick Ottinger is in 10th. So some of those names not in the lineup tonight for the top 10, specifically Ottinger, Simpson, PK, and Costantini. But though they will be making things a little bit more spicy tomorrow when those names you'll see up at the front and going against some of these guys that got some live fire exercise here in the 9 p.m. slot on Friday. Real quick before we leave, I don't know if either one of you happen to know the car number that has won the most Indy 500s, but I'll just go ahead and answer that one for you guys. It is the number 3, and of course the number 3 won tonight here with Adam Blocker. Let's give everyone back their Friday nights to start the weekends. And I'm ready for the weekend, let me tell you guys. And we got IndyCar qualifying, real IndyCar qualifying tomorrow. Scott Dixon gets the lead off. Scott Dixon is our leadoff hitter tomorrow at Indy. That's during the cooler periods. Yeah, I bet you that he puts up a pretty good lap. Alex Palou, Grande Al, as they call him now. Grande Al, I think that's pretty cool. He's going to be like late in the day, so he's getting kind of screwed with the draw. But maybe we see something out of Dixon tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. And of course, Adam Blocker is on Ganassi's team, so maybe some of that good vibes will shake out toward the Ganassi team there for qualifying tomorrow. But let's get on out of here. Go ahead.
And thank you so much, to be honest, and all of the people on P1
yes.
channel and also on iRacing channel and all the platforms around the Twitch and Facebook and everywhere. To thank you, iRacing, to allow us to be over here and broadcasting the first slot and the Fixed Series last week, and today the Open Series Indy 500. So thank you so much, and I hope to see you, who knows, next year for the another one Indy 500.
Yeah, and a good point. You guys in chat were awesome. Very, very smart. Called your shots. Some of them were dead on. Some of my shots weren't, but you guys in chat were great. And those of you watching over on iRacing, thank you for being a part of tonight's broadcast. And if you'd like to do us a favor, just head on over to P1 Broadcasting on YouTube, and you can subscribe. We do many more IndyCar races almost every night of the week. So that's it for tonight. Once again, your podium here for tonight's official Open Indy 500 top qualifier split here in the first time slot. Adam Blocker with the win. Jacob Oster in second by 18 thousandths of a second. Jason Brophy 34 thousandths of a second back in third. Join P1 again next week. Just join us again when we pick up any broadcasting next. I think it's going to be Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time with the Votive Indy Oval Series when they visit Auto Club Speedway. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Coverage again around 8 p.m. Eastern time. And again, it's 8:00. And as always, for the correct time in your area, you can find everything right here on YouTube at youtube.com/@P1 Broadcasting. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game is not an easy one, so please help support P1 with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below. Let us know you thought of tonight's race and you enjoyed tonight's coverage. Support us by smashing like in the video. If you're new, click subscribe, and while you're at it, hit the bell for weekly reminders so don't miss out on more of P1's other iRacing programming, including, as we mentioned, the Votive Indy Oval Series this Sunday, 8 p.m. Don't miss it. Track cams for this race are provided by Whiplash Sim Cams. Get the most out of your iRacing experience with Whiplash Sim Cams. To learn more about Whiplash, like them on Facebook. You can follow on X and Instagram. All the links you need are in the description. For business inquiries to learn more about P1 and what we do, like us on Facebook. You can follow us on X and Instagram. You can follow all of our social links on Linktree. You can check those out in the description. So for Luis Gonzalez Nunez, Sophie Connell, I'm Gary Gatso saying all good night, and thanks for watching. And all of our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Catch us again Sunday night for Votive at Auto Club. Until then, good night.